Now you have 7:02. Go ahead.
None of that's working at all. You may want to check the audio on your actual computer, but 7:02 still, we'll call the meeting to order. Did everyone have a chance to look over the previous minutes?
Yes.
Was there any corrections that anybody saw or amendments to the minutes? Okay.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting the previous minutes signify by saying aye.
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 And I abstained because I was not here for that meeting.
Sorry, vote passes 3-0 with Todd abstaining due to absence. Finances. What, you got paid by the hour or something? Anything that we need to think about other than hiring your replacement? Any red flags that we should be aware of? Sorry, I didn't hand those out beforehand, for everybody.
I can explain that in this whole.
You wanted the explanation. Yeah, well, I know you're putting more hours. We're putting more hours because we had been running out of time for the June 1st or 2nd. They had been doing extension 2 years in a row. So this year we're doing a lot of our transfer and not transfers, but building permits. There we go. All
Okay.
that information, anybody that's done the summer or the fall, we went to see them. And we usually had not been doing it until the spring. And I just felt that it would be a good way to try to finish on time this coming spring, and not having so many to do. Not only we have to do it, we can do our measurements, whatever, then we have to do the computer program and enter all of that information.
Yep.
So we've done that for, I don't know how many, but certainly a good percentage of what we could. So hopefully come spring, we will not be subject.
Okay, and the concern on the finances there is you're running extra hours, so you're running low on your budgeted funds, or, okay,
Well, yeah, well, if you look, it's in the negative, but
okay.
speaking of the grand list fund in general,
Mm-hmm.
the money that went in there in March, I mean, it's really, some of that is for reappraisal. So
Right.
You budgeted for payroll anyway.
Yeah.
And always, those are always tracked in there.
Okay.
I know Sue mentioned it to me when we were talking, so I just wanted you to know, I mean, there's money budgeted for it
Yep.
anyway, it just, the budgeted money doesn't show up in here.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is you're putting in extra hours now so that you don't have to put in the hours in the spring. Theoretically, it should be a wash then. Okay.
Well, yeah, possibly a total loss.
No, but
Yeah.
Hopefully that's.
Yep. Okay.
I have to say, there's another thing that's happening. I am working on sketches that we put, it's a computerized program, so we can draw the dimensions of the house. And we had not been doing that, and I have started doing that.
Okay.
So that's another piece that just, we're sort of like connecting up.
So my next question would be then, since we are looking at starting to do our budgeting. In that portion, same one I got in front of me. Let's see here. So we would be looking at salaries, listers. We have a budgeted amount. How many hours do you think, like if you were to say, you know, this year we've put in X number of hours, how many extra hours? So that we could budget maybe a little extra in the salaries portion?
They can't hear me at all, honey, so I'm gonna go down there.
Budget meetings, it might be good to have.
There's a trooper, apparently it's like a whole thing.
And then we need to discuss that.
Okay,
As far as this on the sheet where it says the grand list fund and it goes down through.
Yep.
I really don't think that should be on the sheet because the money that comes in should go towards your reappraisal. We shouldn't have it there, and then you're paying, you budgeted on your budget, you budgeted for zoning. It's our lister expenses and lister payroll anyway.
correct.
So And you can see what you've spent on it there and you
Yep.
know where you are budget wise.
Okay.
Whereas on here, I think the ones where you have special money coming in for those things and those should stay there, but. If you're less than you are actually paying, you have payroll budgeted and expenses budgeted.
Okay,
Yeah, my understanding is that the money that you get from the state, is part of that, I think, that anyway, should be going towards the appraisal. That's because of the portion of it. Yeah.
right, and that was something that was, I guess, I wasn't aware of until this year when we started talking about the budget. So that's a correction that we will make from here forward, right?
And at the March meeting, when we were gonna shift all that money into the reappraisal, I didn't understand that you'd already budgeted for
We
those
budgeted,
things.
yep,
I'd been here a month.
yep, yep,
So, so that's why I thought, oh, you don't wanna take it out of there because you're not gonna be able to pay your payroll. but
right,
It. You actually budget for the listers and you budget for the zoning, so
correct,
either one of those,
That's right.
and you can see whether you're over or under budget by what's, what you've taken in and what you've spent.
right, yeah, so I mean, that's page 3. On the top there, salaries, but that includes everybody right down through is the only drawback to that is we didn't break it out.
Not an individual.
Right.
But you really need to add the 7.65% to it, but Social Security Medicare, but.
Right.
And then you've got lister and zoning expenses down below, and then on your other page, you have what we received for those, so.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
Say anything about the reappraisal.
Last I remember hearing about the reappraisal is we had not, it could have started this year, but they put us on the agenda or the list for next summer, 2024. Is that still?
Has been some changes.
Okay, there's possible.
Yeah, because right now, the way the law stands, we're gonna have to do reappraisals every 6 years.
Okay.
Since we haven't done one since 2009, we're way over.
Yep.
so we know we have to do it anyway, that when it's done.
Getting the money aside and all that.
Okay, yeah, because we,
Another thing you have to discuss with her.
Okay.
When you budget.
Tammy, can we extend an invite to the next, let's not do the next meeting. First meeting in January. If you'd both like to show up, we'd appreciate that. That way we can get, the whole. No,
Sorry.
okay. Yep, Sue and Sharon.
I just want to mention that because, when I was doing the report, I said, well, that's in the negative and I know that there's money budget.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, and, as we just pointed out, there is literally one more meeting in December. And then it's budget, we crunch the budget there in January. And we're gonna need to really have everybody, all town entities come to us with their budget in mind. So that may be a great invite for all cemetery commission, DCC, everybody, yeah, planning commission, zoning if needed, or well, they will need, yeah, zoning. If we could make that call sooner than later and let them know what we would like them all to come with a proposed budget to turn in.
Is that not?
It is not. What we've done in the past, well, the past, 3 years?
Yeah.
Is we've looked at this report, which says what we budgeted for and what we've had for expenses. Made adjustments where needed and, obviously increase for inflation. That's, but obviously with, for example, the BCC, picking up the parks, I expect that your budget will go up.
Any budget ever down? No.
No, but I mean, you know what I mean, yeah. So I mean, it'd be nice if, those groups could get together, come up with a budget and bring it to us would be handy.
Get their input on it, which we have.
Yeah, which we haven't had their input in the past, which would be kind of handy, so.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
For later in the meeting, we will need to reschedule our next meeting as well.
Correct. I'll put that under,
Christmas?
Board business,
I won't
other.
be here at Christmas, no.
Oh, that's exactly right. He just killed the office.
Yeah,
prayer.
well, it's the next Monday, the fourth Monday of the month is Christmas. So
Is it the first Monday, New Year's too?
it shouldn't be. Well, the first Monday is, but so we always do the second,
I'm
fourth,
saying
so.
we were shifting it to the next.
Well,
No, we'd probably just shift it midweek, hopefully. Anything else that we should look at?
No, I just want to bring that up, because I noticed that when I was reading.
Okay.
that. I mean.
And-
all these things that are-
And just for budgeting purposes, on the salaries portion, you said plus 7.65%, that was for Medicaid or
No.
Social Security?
Yeah. And they're actually listed at the bottom, so, but if you're looking at what a particular position is costing you,
Yep,
you can look at what you paid that position and then add that.
and then add 7.5, okay,
Because they are listed at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
On the second page, as far as Social Security Medicare, but.
well, that's just,
What a position costs you, you need to add that amount on.
yeah, and that's the Social Security, and Medicaid or Medicare are two that we always end up asking the treasurer because we've never known how to figure that number, so
Take your total salaries that you're budgeting, multiply it times 7.65%.
that's awesome, that'll help a lot.
That's
Any-
your portion.
Any other questions for Vera? Thank you very much.
No.
No, thanks for, and
Thank you.
we will continue to look for your replacement as hard as it has been. We will. If anybody out there has a treasurer that they're, or is interested in becoming a treasurer, please reach out to the town. Ask for Tammy, she can give you the download. And we are in dire need here. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Drive careful.
Up next. Vermont State Police.
thank you for being here, Lieutenant. I'm sure it's been a busy day for you. Oh, it is.
So I guess the biggest reason we bashed you here, we didn't know today was gonna be as busy as it was. We've been having some issues in town, some pretty substantial issues with speed. We're actually starting to develop a small homeless population.
Hmm.
And there are some other issues that, you know, I'm sure some people would like to bring up, probably off camera, you know.
Yep.
And we're just wondering, you know, what we've got to do in the town to get the police presence, because we really don't have any. I understand you're short staffed. I mean, that's everywhere, yeah. It used to be, we had a couple state police that lived here in town, and a cruiser might get parked, you know, across from a parent's house, which may slow some vehicles down on Main Street, which was a help, but both of them gentlemen have retired since, so there's little to no patrol. And a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Which leads to increase in everything, really, mischief, yeah.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you all for inviting me here. You know, this is an opportunity for me to get to meet everybody in all these different towns, because I'm new to this position, so it's new to me as well. But I've been working out of this barracks for a while and know that it's we're in a tough time right now, and your frustrations are shared amongst every town that we go to and every select board meeting that I've been to so far. So every town and every select board that I talk to wants more of us. So that makes it hard, because we just can't be everywhere at once. But I think one of the common themes that offers a better solution or just more of a solution is open lines of communication.
Mhm.
I don't know how the relationships were in the past between the town of Bakersfield and the position that I'm in. I don't know how much communicating there was. But regardless,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that if there are issues, if there are trouble spots, if there are events that are being held that you would like a presence at, just having those lines of communication where you can just reach out to us. You have my number, you have my email, and also my other supervisors as well. Unfortunately, I travel a lot for the job, and I could be at any corner of the state, any day of the week. But so you might be reaching out to me, but I'm gone, and it shouldn't be a dead end road. There should be some level of redundancy in there, so you can get in touch with myself or my subordinate leadership as well, to get the response that you need right away. You know, if I'm down in Rutland and you need something up here, it's not fair to you all that I'm down in Rutland. It just is what it is. You all might need something here. So to have the points of contact to reach out to my patrol commanders, who are the sergeants beneath me as well. So that's something that I will share with all of you. I can follow up after this meeting with email, contact information, good phone numbers.
Yep.
And I think that then we can start talking and figure out where some spots are where there's too much speeding going on, or is it a school zone? What time of day is this? When there are events being held, you know, during holidays or I think of like 4th of July, summer type activities, community events, you know, that having a presence can help deter some activity sometimes.
Are you okay with these? Excuse me. Are you okay with these lines of contact being posted on our town website for the public to have also?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a common there's I'll be careful how I word it. A lot of times people want there to be change, but are hesitant to speak up because they don't want to be labeled a certain way.
Yes.
And that is something that I see pretty frequently. And there are avenues that I can share where information can get relayed to us and people's names kept out of the mix. There's anonymous tip lines and website tips and ways where people can still get the information that we would need to know about maybe certain activities that are happening or certain areas of concern. So their voice is heard without feeling compromised.
Yep.
By the neighbors.
We have that same issue as a select board.
Yeah.
People who want to complain about, or not complain, but bring their concerns forward, but don't want to be on camera as you are now.
Yep. Yep.
I know you're avoiding naming some of these issues, but we have a worsening drug problem in the area, and people are fearful of stepping forward and putting their name out on an official complaint. We don't know what to do about it. We hear it, but nobody wants to put their name on any kind of complaint or document saying that they've seen or they know of situations, and we're baffled as to how to approach this.
Yeah, that is tough. And again, that is common. Everywhere that I've gone, people I've talked with, and I think a lot of that is we've seen across the state, not particularly here in our area, but it is trickling in our area as an uptick in violence. And a lot of that can be intimidation tactics, where the public is kept at almost victimized because people are afraid to talk up and speak up because they're afraid of any type of retribution that might happen. I will say that there's power in numbers. So if there's a community that takes action together against the minority that's creating most of the problem, that's the most effective way to push them out.
Not to be critical,
Sure.
but we have called the state police for support on some issues as a select board
Okay,
and have been told that we can't help you.
can you elaborate on any of the issues? Without maybe giving up personal information, but
Yes, there was an instance where there was an abandoned house that was allegedly
Meth lab.
a meth lab, or not necessarily this one, but it had been abandoned, and we felt that there might be someone inside there in need of assistance or distress, or
Yeah.
and it involves several animals. We had been told that it was one of the sources of our drug problems. We didn't really want to go in there without support. We didn't know what we'd find. We were told the state police couldn't help. And quite honestly, some of the select board took it upon themselves and went in. And unfortunately, we found the place in disarray. I'm sure you've seen some places like that. Animals hadn't been fed for a long time. They drained the toilet dry of water, and fortunately we didn't find any
Deceased.
bodies or anything else like that there. And we were able to handle it ourselves, but state police would have been much appreciated at that point.
I'd say so. I don't have much to say to that other than I'm sorry.
It wasn't under your command, but.
No, this was
That's not, I'll tell you right now, that's not right. Nobody should be accepting any level of risk or unnecessarily exposing themselves to harm's way. So something like that, let's say maybe it isn't even criminal in nature, but that's like community caretaking, and that's what we're here for. I mean, that is our job. So that shouldn't have happened. And as long as I'm in charge, like that will not happen.
Thank you for that.
We did hit that problem with the firefighter / EMS person.
Yeah, we
towards the
had
end of
one
summer.
firefighter that got knocked to the ground
Yeah.
on a stop and
On a call?
on a call and called for support and was non-sent. And they told him call in the morning and file a report. It was about 2-3 months ago. It
Yeah, and it was like one,
was right here in the village,
Was it after hours or?
it's like 1 in.
like 1 in the, it was right around when, I know your shifts usually go 1 or 2 in
Yeah.
the morning, and it was just before the end of shift.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I mean, and it was before your launch, so,
Yeah, these are things that,
and it also was.
if
a
there
time-
is anything like this that happens where you feel that, especially first responders are not getting the support that they need.
Mhm.
I want to know about it as soon as I
Yeah,
can,
yeah.
so I can address it as soon as we can. I think that's the easiest way to fix issues that might happen.
Right,
I mean, let's be realistic. Issues are going to happen, whether it's a miscommunication or, a poor decision that happens.
Mhm.
Human error and judgment will happen again. I mean, but
right.
the best way to correct that is either on the spot or as soon as possible. So if something like that happens again. reach out.
I could understand if all the officers were out on call, and I'm sorry, we can't help you right
Yep.
now. Is this a critical emergency, or can we take care of this in a few hours or tomorrow?
Sure.
We didn't get that kind of response.
Yeah, again, I don't know the specifics of this instance, but I will say that a lot of times things can be lost in translation
Mhm.
between dispatch. You
No,
probably
you're right.
experienced
No,
that
I agree.
Where
Yep.
if a trooper got the call and it maybe didn't fully understand the facts and circumstances. Again, I don't know. I'm not defending anybody because I don't know.
No, I
But you're
spoke
right,
to a
there's 2
trooper.
dispatch centers that were involved, and sometimes the
Yours, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
miscommunication.
If something goes to central and then
Yes.
central calls our
Right,
dispatch
right.
and our dispatch calls a trooper
Right.
who's getting ready to go home
Mhm.
and they say, firefighter was pushed, like,
Right.
well, good, come let us know, file a
Right.
warrant statement in the morning.
Yeah.
Again, I don't. I
No,
don't
no, but
want-
you're right, versus saying they were knocked to the ground, and that would make the thought process a
Sure,
little bit
exactly.
different, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
So I guess all I would say on that is, if that were to happen, let's say it happened last night. When I'm in my office this morning, I would want to know about it.
Right.
Simple as that, so I can take corrective action as soon as possible. Because that shouldn't happen, I mean. The way I look at it, and I don't know why some people don't, is we're on the same team.
Right.
Right, I mean, we're here to take care of our communities, and we're here to do right by the people that we're working with and surrounding ourselves with, so. When somebody reaches out for a call to assistance, like we are servants of the public, like we should be here to help out. So that's the way I look at it, but
We've,
You're right.
Lieutenant Philippek, we've also been told in the past that we can't help you. You don't have a contract with us.
well, that's misinformation. Should not be told that.
There's everyone on this.
With the state, I can't be with the state police.
Yes.
Okay.
Less so,
Because I'm learning a lot.
less so than the county sheriff's department,
Okay.
but we
So-
have been told that with the state police.
Right.
Because we actually,
We don't work on a contractual basis, like regardless of state, town contracts or not.
Mhm.
We are the state police, so calls by default will come to us. Now, if a sheriff's department is covering a town. On contract time, the call will, they take priority, they will go to the call, but if they're not. By default, I mean, it comes to us.
Like,
There's-
quite honestly, I mean, if we're in a situation like that, we don't care if it's the sheriff's department or the Vermont State Police.
Sure.
If we call and we need help, we would hope that somebody would respond.
Me too.
Over the years, there have been at least 5 separate occasions where I have wished that somebody with the authority to handle the situation was there instead of me.
Yeah, citizens should not be placed in situations where they are making. These types of, I don't know what your circumstance was, but they shouldn't be making decisions on jeopardizing their own personal safety. Or the safety of others, or any type of citizen's arrest or anything of authority, right? That's what law enforcement is for.
Link to the meeting.
And that's what we should be providing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is how we feel.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your sitting there and being here tonight and telling us that.
Well, it needs to be said, if it's not being heard on your end, then that's a failure on our part. So if that's how it's been perceived leading up to this point, then we failed. I mean, that's just what it is.
and I can tell you, you being here is way more than we've received in the 6 years.
It's been,
6 years I've been
it's
on the
been
board.
quite a while since the state trooper has been here.
Not because they haven't been asked, just because they didn't. So we greatly appreciate you being here and listening to our concerns and helping us sort out some of these issues that our town is facing.
It's the way it should be.
And
Right, we're like, we serve the state, of course, but I'm assigned to Franklin County and Grand Isle County. So I can't come to every select board meeting, but when there are issues that need to be addressed, I will make every effort that I can to be here. Now, like was it 2 weeks ago?
Right.
I was called away. So I also, well, I don't want to get too much into it, but I run the tactical team too.
Right.
So that gets me spun up in a lot of different directions, all at once. But aside from that, when things aren't coming up on the radar, and people are reaching out, asking for us to be there. What I'm getting paid to do. So
We're not
Of
asking for the impossible.
course,
We realize that in the grand scheme of things, Bakersfield is a very small area of the counties and the towns that you have to cover. And we realize that there are probably more important things that need your presence. But occasionally, we do need you.
And we should be here to provide that for you, you know, so. Even if it's something as small as putting a speed car in an area where there's problem speeders in front of a school zone, or whatever issues that you're having. That's a very easy, passive way that we can have a presence, even though we're short-staffed, and we can still help monitor problem areas. And we have a whole traffic safety team that can help contribute that. All I have to do is be able to reach out to them. Again, they can't put them in every town 7 days a week across the state. But if I can get it onto their rotation. So there are certainly things that can be done that will help those efforts. So we should be doing more of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, and thank you for, I mean, being open about it too, you know, I need to hear this stuff.
We're-
Coming into this job.
We're in a place where we need to speak out.
Yep.
We've got issues that we can't handle. So,
just to touch on the short staff, out of how many officers do you have in your St. Albans barracks compared to how many you're supposed to have? Like, I assume you're supposed to have X number of patrols, and just to give people, you know, the public an idea as to the kind of shortage we're facing here.
Yeah.
Because it's not, we understand. I say I understand, because I have friends in the career, and
I had this pulled up because I figured this was gonna come up. So we're in a tight spot.
Yep.
Right now, and currently we have 10 troopers.
that's it?
for Franklin and Grand Isle County.
Yes.
Wow.
And how many, like, if you were fully staffed, you would be,
If we were fully staffed, we would have 5 more.
Would be 15,
yeah, so you're,
And then plus our 3 supervisors, but so that you can add in another 4 if we were to get all of our supervisors, all of our sergeants or patrol commanders.
Yeah.
So that's we St. Albans Barracks are not alone in that problem. I mean, that is the state police staffing is one step short of a crisis right now.
Yeah.
But that problem, they're working to fill it. We are getting 3 new troopers out of this next academy class, which is gonna be huge. We gotta train them up on our FTO, but that will be 3 more that can help out, which is gonna be great.
how many are retiring out though?
Great question. Actually none.
None. Oh, good.
So for the next 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be okay.
Yep.
Which will be nice.
Well, Bakersfield is a great training ground for your new guys. Bring them up here, we'll point them in the right directions, we'll help them out the best we can,
I'm gonna go practice their car stops wherever you.
That's
need.
right, yeah, exactly.
So that's our staffing issue, and then. That is split up amongst our day shift and our night shift.
Right.
But. For a while there, that our staffing issue was tapering back some of our contract time that we had. That was for we get grants for
Stone guard stuff.
yeah,
like
stone
that.
garden or like we'll call it DUI
Right.
grant money, which is to go. This is a contract time to go look for impaired drivers, and then that is starting to trickle back. So that directly ties into proactive law enforcement, right? Because you are given this amount of time to go look for impaired drivers. So that works out great for weekends, for holidays, where we know that on New Year's Eve, there are going to be an increased number of impaired drivers that are out there. So that would be an opportunity for people to go sign up to work extra shifts, to go try to keep the roads safer.
In your own opinion, in the past 10 years, how has the drug situation changed?
I'm not allowed to have an opinion.
Exponentially, I get
Say,
So it's certainly increased by by a lot. Now, I'll say a lot, but it's hard to measure.
Uh-huh.
I mean, statistics can be such a strange
Right.
beast, right? Because it's how it's all reported and logged. But I would say what is most alarming to us is like drugs have been here. Drugs have been here for a lot longer than
Yes.
10 years, and they're
Yes.
still here now. What is most concerning to us is the violence that's accompanying the drugs. That
Okay.
has been the biggest change.
Okay.
The violent offenses and the gun crimes
Mhm.
in the state of Vermont has been on the rise in the last 3 years,
Okay.
significant.
Okay.
You know, and we especially see that in cities like Burlington, you know, and just. But unfortunately, in small towns too, you know, the homicide rate in Vermont, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it's a significant rise,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And the type of drugs.
And the
The
type of
fentanyl
drugs.
and that
yes,
stuff is
yeah,
becoming
yeah,
really.
much more lethal.
Yep.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Any other questions?
Oh, it's, thank you very much for coming up. It's.
Any from the crowd? Pat?
Well, I'm listening to the connection between state police and select board and importantly, and what have you. I think when you appointed constables there, right, a possible connection. Is there- I'm not gonna make a complaint, I'm saying, would be a logical liaison.
Mhm.
Select board,
Yes.
to get
Yes.
hold of,
That's why we wanted you.
whatever. I don't think you wanna be public gun and doing risky tech and stuff, but I would think it'd be an ideal communicator.
Sure, I think that they're a strong conduit, and I've had it, and come through the St. Albans barracks, they've been helpful, they have answered me, they have told me to be certain point, you know, like certification does matter. For certain things, but, they do have trucks in the St. Albans barracks pretty strongly, but. Yeah, it could help me, I was gonna ask a question before we asked a question, but there's a certain level, looking into it, I don't mean to step in, I'm trying to move forward. But the certification process, and I think that we're like up tonight, moving in, there's a whole nother level, right? You pull the thread and I've kept pulling, and I can go down to Pittsburgh and do the thing, more than willing to, and we'll talk about that tonight, but. There's an FTO process that goes into it. There's, okay, our in-service training, and then there's a whole nother FTO process. That's kind of the big question, it's gonna ask, the select board tonight is, I can spend my time, the town can spend their money. And that's good, and I think it would be positive, but I'm more than willing to do it. It's just a certain level of who's gonna underwrite, me, you know, he has a very nice uniform, he has a very nice clothing. Probably has a decent car, right? I had a couple pair of Carhartts, and you know, I do own firearms and things like that, but it is a certain level of official nature of the business moving forward to it. That if the town were to go down that way, which once again, more than willing to follow that, it's just, you gotta have buy-in from the town, gotta have buy-in from John, and let's see what that looks like, and then that would also bring in another level. I assume you have fully trained FTOs here, and you know, but it does look very different coming out of a cruiser, a Vermont trooper than it does somebody else. Moving around and going through the process, and letting someone underwrite that, be it ESP, be it Craig County Sheriff's, be it a third agency, that's a whole separate matter that the team to discuss.
A question for Lieutenant Philippek. How have you found, how effective can small town constables be in this situation?
Yeah, it's a valuable job, but it's also a hard job, right? For the reasons that you just mentioned, that you don't, it is not any fault of your own, right? But you don't have the equipment or a cruiser or
Yes.
I guess the training and equipment that you need to be able to effectively handle certain situations where if you come in contact with somebody who's combative and you don't have a taser or a cage to put them in while they're going crazy and trying to kick everything, that's not fair to do.
No, it's
But,
not.
so I think that those are some of the downfalls that that could potentially arise. But on the other side, there's a lot of value in having somebody who's embedded in the community.
Yeah.
And knows everybody and knows everything and, if a resource is needed, it's on his cell phone and he can just pick up, call, text, whatever, where if I needed something around here, like, I don't have these personal relationships with everybody, and know who to talk to get certain information, or, if I'm looking for somebody who's missing, I don't know whose door is knocking.
So-
A constable can offer that through a law enforcement lens, right?
So you're basically saying that his effectiveness directly relates to how well he can communicate with your department.
Absolutely, like a conduit, just like I
Right.
said.
Right.
I think there's a lot of value in that. And I don't mean to, I don't want to diminish, the, level 3 or 2 certifications.
Right.
And try to take away from that. There's a lot of value in that, and at least having that experience and training, because it makes you that much better of a partner for us, because you have a different level of awareness after getting this type of training to keep yourself safe. And when to call us, because something is maybe stepping outside of a capability that you could provide.
So if you forgive me, whether a position like that works or not is fully dependent on your department's willingness to respond to his call for help.
That's a tough.
We should always be responding to a call for help, whether it's a constable calling or not.
Forgive me, Lieutenant Philippek, but
Sure.
we're a little bit jaded because we have called for help and haven't gotten it.
Okay.
And what I'm afraid is he's going to find himself in a situation and he's going to call for help and
Yep.
it won't be provided.
So that is, I would be wary of, is if you are going to take a law enforcement action without communication with anybody, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's with any type of dispatch, having a radio for backup.
Right.
We don't try to do anything without some type of radio communication. So being able to, for a constable to be able to call for help or backup, I would hope that we were gonna know that there was some type of law enforcement action to be taken prior to it.
Right.
So we could be there to help out in advance, or at least know that something was going on. If there was an eviction going on and you were to help out with a civil eviction and it started to go awry, for example, that we would at least have known that it was maybe something that was going to be happening.
We take it down to a basic level. He responds to a dog complaint and
Sure.
forgive me, but some people can get a little bit irate about their pets.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what they're doing. And he finds himself in distress and happens to have self-service.
Sure.
And calls up, are you going to respond?
Yeah.
Okay,
We have to.
that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we have to.
I've never seen it.
And frankly, we should be doing that anyways. Right, back to what I originally said, is anybody that's calling for that level of assistance. Now, if it was something more civil in nature, like maybe not civil is not the right word, but something less active.
Yeah.
Where a threat was made, or let's say even a firearm was brandished. And a threat was made, and then you left, and then called us afterwards. If this is at 2 o'clock in the morning, we might say, well, everybody's separated, everybody is safe right now. Let's follow up on this tomorrow. Right? And I hope that you wouldn't be trying to take somebody's dog at 2 in the morning anyways, probably. But yeah.
So if I may, one of our members was not here and was unable to attend, but she has sent in a question or two.
Sure.
via Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, she's on the
Um,
logo.
she would like, we already covered the drug activity in the town, but one of the other pieces that she'd like to bring to your attention and scenario is she says that there are people living in cars between the church and the historical society, which is two buildings here, the next building over and the building away. And she would like to know, should we put up no loitering signs? And if they continue to be there day in and day out, will you come and address the issue?
Yeah, that's a really hard one.
Yeah.
That is really hard. So, it is not illegal to live in your car.
Right.
So there's no law being broken, but if it's happening in certain vicinities, where they are not welcome, then they can be, effectively trespassed from that area. So let's say this is happening in a church parking lot out in front of the library or, is that one of the spots that you
The
mentioned?
historical, it's literally between the two
Society.
buildings
Church
right
parking
here.
lot, yeah,
Church parking lot.
and historical society
Right,
parking lot. as
so
well.
if that is an issue that's happening. We can. Pay them a visit. And no trespass them, so they're not welcome on that property anymore, and then there's a paperwork trail that's served on them. That is filed with us. So then if they go back onto that piece of property. They can be cited for trespassing.
Did-
Now, all that may do is move them from that parking lot
To
to
another
the
one.
gas station parking lot down the road.
Yeah.
And round we go, so. Finding a root cause. And solution might be better for that, finding some type of housing for these individuals. That's a really hard one, and we struggle with that. I mean, across the state of Vermont, right? Because it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a pretty hard place to be homeless.
Yeah, it's a little
Correct me
chilly
if
out right
I'm-
now.
I'm sorry. go ahead.
I apologize. I was just saying it's a little chilly out now.
Yeah.
Just one moment. So the question becomes, in order to, if they decide that they want to go the route of the no trespass, should they be posting some kind of signs that says, private property, no trespassing or no loitering? Would that help substantiate if they decide to call for assistance to have these people cited?
Sure, it would help substantiate, but that alone will not get them criminally cited.
They'll have to file a complaint.
Yeah, and then that person be notified to be removed from the property. Now, and then if they come back,
Now, who would do the notification, if I may
there are
add?
different ways that notification we made. The state police or the sheriffs can make that notification to tell somebody that they're not welcome and they're trespassed from that property. And then we file, we make a file of it that has their information, and that file, that issue of no trespass to that piece of property is good for 1 year.
Mhm.
And that is filed in our online database and also locally at the barracks. The sheriffs can do the same.
Yeah.
And also, it could be done via certified mail. Now, I can't do that if somebody's living in their car.
Well, it's kind of tough to do. if they're living- Yeah.
Right. So that specifically wouldn't work, but if I didn't, if I didn't want Todd to come to my house, I could send him a certified piece of mail. So when it gets, and on this letter saying, I, Mike Philippek, do not want Todd Cosgrove to come to my address of this,
Mhm.
anymore. This address and the surrounding property belonging to this address, or however you wanted to word it. For any and all outbuildings on this property, right? You could get as elaborate in this claim as you wanted, and then you sign it. And then you have it delivered to him.
So basically, it's a
So-
TRO.
So he gets this piece of mail and he has to sign from it, from the post office saying, I received this piece of mail. And then that signature saying it's a receipt is mailed back to me. And now I have a signed receipt saying like he was delivered that notice.
Right.
Okay.
So then that also would suffice.
I know I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but if we had a trained constable,
Yeah.
could he serve that?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Let's say Sharon and Pat had a question.
Sorry, I just want to say, this particular issue you're talking about is church property, it's historical society property. We haven't had a concern with church, this is the second person involved here, and the first person taking care of themselves.
Mhm.
Right.
And this, we haven't had a problem.
Are there two there now? I know
No.
the fellow that was there, okay.
As I said,
It was-
there was two there
There was-
last week.
Was there two there last week?
More of a concern in the church parking lot is the after dark rendezvous.
Yeah, it was-
Like,
The exchanges at 1 at night.
we have a issue at this point with anybody that needs to be there and living in their car. In fact, we've offered help and that sort of thing.
Right.
This particular individual has refused more than rudimentary help.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
It's their
Right.
life, it's their, you
Yeah.
know, choice.
I was just bringing it up because it was just asked to,
I just wanted to make it clear, as far as we're concerned.
well, since you own the property.
We're playing a what if game right now.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, this is all good information to give us too.
Yeah.
If it comes to that.
as I said, I'm chasing the rabbit down a hole here, so.
yeah, that's okay.
I'm gonna grab you by the ears here pretty soon. Oh,
Suggestion I would have, and I don't even know what to do this, but would be to have some kind of a camera in that area if you were concerned about the activity in that parking lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there isn't activity, you know, people are living in their cars is one thing, whatever else may be going on. Is something.
yeah.
So you just want to repeat that for the record, because
Oh.
she's a little far away from the mic.
Yeah, what they were saying is that the church at this time has no issues with the vehicles that are parked there. They've extended a hand to offer support and will continue to do so as long as that person needs it. Does that cover it pretty well?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll shut up.
Anything for us? Any final?
Appreciate the honesty.
Yeah,
Yeah, so again, my follow-up is to make sure that I reach out with good contact information for me, and then my subordinates, leaders as well. And if I could then get a list of areas or specifics, maybe on some problems that I can try to help address like immediately, then and then from there, you know, just these check-ins, and when issues are coming up, let's get after it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
All right, I thank you for your time, everybody.
You have a good evening,
Good night.
sir.
All right, take care.
Safe on the roads.
Yep. You all too.
You want to email me that information? You have my email, so I will put in one of them.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Sure will. Thank you.
I think we should.
Hmm?
Huh?
I'll send it.
Just do it in an email.
all right, next up, Chris.
Hey, Chris, thanks for driving over.
Yeah, no.
I think I actually fixed the problem with the sound. I don't know. I'll have to.
Now you tell.
He said as soon as you left,
It
he
didn't work. I was planning on coming, and she's like, no, it's gonna work. And I was like, I don't know.
Well, we appreciate you being here either, whichever way you could get here. I appreciate it. Animal control. We've had, as you know, we've had the ongoing issue there, which I hope at this point is resolved at the town level. We did have a dog bite. I guess that'd be 3 or 4 weeks ago now.
Oh,
Yeah.
They said the number on the website didn't work.
Shoot, I know some
So-
people were asked for a code.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, cause it did that to me like for.
And you tried calling me the other day.
And I called him Sal because I was like, I can't get it through.
Okay.
So I do not own Consolidated Communications.
Well, it's a good thing.
But we pay for like the lowest level phone thing,
Yep.
just in case, you know, like today.
Yep.
The
Right.
phones go out, so there has been an issue that I've tried to overcome, which is we do have voicemail. But when people leave their numbers on that voicemail, sometimes it is difficult to get that. and
Yep.
Try.
But you
Yeah.
couldn't even leave anything. You
Yeah.
couldn't leave a message, it just said enter the code. And there was none.
So it thought it was you calling to get your messages.
I just wasn't sure, I wasn't sure if we had the correct number on
No,
file.
yeah, you,
Okay,
I mean.
okay. Okay.
yes, I've had, people have had success with it.
I can tell by the enthusiasm, it's been fun, yep,
I've had success with
okay.
it. On the
No, that's
document,
good.
I have not, I didn't.
No, that's fine. It was taken care of. You know, they called me, I knew them personally anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. They just brought it to my attention that the number didn't work. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll look into it, and then
Should be.
life happens, you know?
Both, I think my wife might like that better. She does work from home and does not care to be a dispatcher. at this point.
So your cell, is that something that you?
That's fine. It's
I
okay.
can put that on the
Yeah.
website? Okay,
At least I can transcribe the voicemails on that.
right.
Right.
I assume there was other questions. Joe,
Chris had some scenarios.
you had some for us, okay?
Well, I came in and, as I was mentioning, when Lieutenant was here, kind of pulling the string on a little bit and as of, it's been a couple months and I have gotten calls and, nothing crazy. But gone and made contact with the people in Bakersfield and said, no, you need to get your dog registered. It's a lot of dog calls. and
Mhm.
things like that. The only thing that really pushed me into the questions, and I consulted my friends that are law enforcement officers. And I said, the warden came by and, it was prior to rifle season and there was poaching, just blatant poaching. And he's a friend of mine, and he pulled up by my house and talked to me about it and asked for some backup and he asked me, he's like, if this were to happen, would you be able to? And I said, well, Dustin, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
what I'm actually
Right.
allowed to do. And
Right.
so I looked into the
So we have
bylaws,
to-
I looked into what the constable's allowed to do, and that led me to the certification levels.
Yep.
The further and further and further.
Yep.
And to answer that question is no. Right? You can't,
Unless he deputizes, yeah.
Right.
Right.
I'm more than willing. right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
have no legal authority to enforce Title 10. I have no legal authority to enforce 13 or 23, right? But I do have the willingness and desire, and I understand the lieutenant's concern that there could be, there are compromising situations. I'm not ignorant of this at all. It's typically top of mind. And just for instance, there was a call about, it was worried about things. And I researched and I do have animal control officer duties. And if there is like, say, an emaciated animal or there is issues on that, well, I do have the authority to take that dog or to intervene right now.
Mhm.
But I have reached out to the St. Albans Barracks, probably 3 of the 6 things I've done, I've called down and said, hey, I have this going on, and they are very receptive, and it does most of the time go through central, but I can get a trooper from the Alpha Barracks and we have a conversation and it's typically resolved at that level. But I can do more if I was certified, right?
Mhm.
And it is laborious and I have another child on the way, right?
Hey, congratulations.
Yep, congratulations to me, so doing me, right? Just trying to grow Bakersfield. But it is something that I don't think wouldn't help the community. And I think that it could be beneficial and it also gives me more credibility with that barracks, right? So I can
Yes.
call and I say, I'm Chris Ward. It's gonna be limited, right? Because I don't know how many other Chris Ward calls they got that day, right? I don't know how many other people that they spoke to with their concerns, which maybe they're valid, maybe they're not.
Yeah.
But they have been receptive when I was like, hey, my name's Chris Ward, town constable, town of Bakersfield. They say, okay, and then it does seem like a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a conversation change. But if I can say that, and then lieutenant knows that I actually, went down to Pittsburgh. I understand that I'm not just trying to go out and,
Barney,
why
yep,
her, you know what I mean?
yep.
Right.
And it builds that credibility, and then I think that you can see more of a conflict, more of a cohesion between statewide law enforcement, local law enforcement, countywide, that I think would benefit the town overall, just as a constituent of the town.
Yeah. So to get down to, I mean, what it comes to, like, I heard him say level 3, level 2.
Sure.
And I
60 hour.
okay, and I assume the state cops are a level 1. Or,
No, it goes higher.
oh, it goes higher.
Yeah.
The higher the level.
Yeah,
Okay.
so level 1 is, you go to the 2-week basic course, and that's that. There's one in March.
Right.
You go to that, you go down to Pittsford, do 80 hours.
Okay.
Level 2, you gotta go down and you gotta do like in-service training, kind of keep you rounded out. That's where you get like the fishing game, you get firearms, you get other like electives, and then there's a core, right? It's where you build yourself out.
Right.
And then within that next step is the FTO portion.
Right.
And I think that that's the biggest concern I have for like feasibility.
So the 80 hours, the level 1
Mhm.
would allow you to basically enforce town ordinances,
Sure.
stuff like that. Yeah.
take care of animal control issues,
Yep.
and for lack of better terms, tote the ticket book.
Basically.
The way that I spoke to my friends about it is level 1 is effectively nothing. Or like I could do that right now, I guess. right?
Okay.
In the same purview that I have now, level 1 would extend. They largely got away from level 1, so basically it's like just a middle ground. It's like being a sophomore in high school. Sure, you're a high schooler, right? But you haven't graduated.
Yep.
And you have to get to level 2 within 12 months of taking that basic course
Mhm.
to actually to effect an arrest or to investigate something that moves to a felonious investigation
Yep.
for a level 3 to actually affect the arrest of. The way I interpret it, it's I can do what I can do here with the power given to me by the board and the town, or it should be level 2 fully on, because in
Okay.
the middle ground, it's
So I assume you looked into, and this is just an assumption, that you looked into cost
so.
of said courses.
Vermont Criminal Justice Training Center says no cost, but must be sponsored. I
Okay.
believe they got me I don't know what you got, but you said you got me a badge number or something of this
I
same.
got you,
She made it sound real.
I thought,
Yeah.
Lance, I thought when you talked to someone, they told you that they needed to be at least a level 1 certified to be able to do the job.
For animal
Yeah.
control.
That's for
Animal control, yeah.
That's what we were told.
Right.
Now, I don't know, who was that by? Do you remember? Mike.
Sorry.
I think.
All I can remember it was a woman trooper, but I cannot remember the name for the life of me right now.
Hartman?
No.
Sure,
from the state.
Right.
sure.
It's just like a fire
So
department
the-
ID,
So
basically.
yeah.
When we called for animal control, when we tried to get the tickets, when we were trying to do tickets, we were told that they have to go to Pittsford.
Right.
They have to go
To
through.
do the
training.
level 1, no, I don't
To,
think.
well, the problem was it's 2 different areas, what we were asking for, so they would have to go for one piece and the second piece that may be the level 2, I don't
Probably,
remember. In
Probably
order
one of
to
the
be able to
add-ons.
effectively write the tickets and such, and it was like components, almost like an add-on piece.
And that, from my understanding, so animal control at large swaths.
Yes.
State law and town ordinance and puts it together, right?
Mhm.
Right now, I have town ordinance and I can look in that town ordinance, if it's, it's a dog in a road that's chasing and some people walking by, it's bread and butter, black and white, right? I can go
Okay.
have a conversation. And then I could write that ticket, you know, that's in the town ordinance. If it was animal cruelty, that goes into a separate, that's in state statute. So I would not be able to affect the state statute ticketing or citation of that crime as it applies to the state statute.
That makes sense.
So I may have missed it. How many hours is the level 2?
So it's 80 hours in Pittsburgh, 50 accumulative hours within 12 months and an FTO period.
And the FTO period is it stat or is it?
I think it's, you know, dependent on it. And I think that we are in, I can't find someone that is aware of this happening exterior. So most of the time in the towns and cities, the constable is already a law enforcement officer.
Mhm.
So becoming organic through, you know, appointment or election, and then without that certification already, it's difficult. And I'm not gonna say unprecedented, but it's
We would need.
from what I can
some
understand,
policies
pretty-
and
Yeah,
procedures
yeah.
for guidance,
confusing.
Because, yeah.
I
arrest
think
and all
it
that
would
is
have to be a conversation.
loophole.
With the sheriff's department.
So we would have to, basically, in order for you to become a level 2, we would have to find a sponsoring department
So
that would
with
let,
FTO and
that would
yes.
allow you to work under them.
Yep.
And then be our constable.
Yep.
Okay,
Now, is it working with them and in close contact, or you actually do ride-alongs?
I would have to be
Not
under the
necessary.
supervision directly of a field training officer certified to, for them to look at the way I go through, say, a traffic stop and interaction with the public, any of the enforcement measures that.
Basically a ride-along, so, yeah.
Not just.
You're doing
one
the
either.
job,
It's-
but
it's
you
a-
just,
Yeah.
you said, yeah, 50 plus hours, yeah.
but
Um,
we're on the hook liability wise while he's doing that. So
That's
just keep
the
that
other
in
thing.
mind.
Right.
It's a huge liability.
So you're
risk.
looking at due for 6 weeks
Sure,
total,
I mean.
at least.
Yeah.
And that's full-time.
I mean, that's on top of my full time.
Yeah.
Like it's
I mean,
an
so
effort.
realistically, we're talking, you know, you've got a full-time job already. I mean, you'd be lucky to complete it in a year.
It's a concern for sure. It would take a deliberate effort both
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah, we're not making any
department
decisions on that
or
today.
the agency's part and my part.
You'd have to take 2 weeks off from your present job just to take level 1.
Right now.
Yeah, and the big swath isn't that much of a concern. I have a supportive chain of command where I work that wouldn't be against this.
Uh-huh.
I think honestly, I have a fair amount of friends that would have no problem sitting me in the next seat of their car and driving around and, you know, for a change in their day,
Okay.
criticizing me instead of me criticizing them. But it would be the agency, it's at the agency level that's where the liability
Yeah.
comes,
Yeah, that's.
where a lot of this.
And I'm just using this example, he's on a traffic stop in Swanton, he's riding Swanton's FTO, he makes a mistake, it's not Swanton that's on the hook, it's Bakersfield.
Yeah.
So that, and it's just, that's the reality of the realm of it, that's all that we need to consider, so.
And that's kind of what I wanted to bring up,
Right.
is to bring up that consideration and
Yep.
it's definitely not my decision to make. I wanted to be forthright and let you guys know that if this is something that you want, where there is someone with these powers who works for this town. I once again want to put my ticket in and say that I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
It's just a matter of whether the town wants to have that and to invest in it and actually.
The town would certainly wants, the town certainly wants something like that, but the level of commitment that we would need from you is, I mean, this is, you'd be elected to office annually. I mean, if we put you through this and you decide after a year that, I'm sorry, guys, this is just
Or he gets.
taking up more of my time than I wanted, or it's just, I'm not really interested in. And I understand completely. We'd be back to square one.
Absolutely.
Or we put in the training and he goes, I can make a lot more money working for the sheriff's department. Not that you would do that, but you know, that's the realisticness of.
He could go through the level 1. We don't have to decide on level 2 and the rest of it at this point, but the level 1 would give him what he needs to do to be able to do the full extent
Yeah,
of the animal enforcement
Yeah.
part of it.
and I didn't know, in my head, it sounded, I saw the March dates, they are right before, the
Mhm.
application deadline
Yeah.
is like.
Yeah.
Further out in February, January. But I didn't know if this was like a town meeting conversation that might have.
I think it's more a conversation with our town attorney to
Yeah, to see where our
see where
liability
our
is.
liability is, what's required from us for insurance on him, that type of stuff.
Oh, it
Yeah.
would certainly be on the next level of liability.
Yeah.
Insurance, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there workman's comp too?
Yeah,
It would be, you
There
know,
should be. I gotta be honest, there should be.
yeah.
absolutely.
Going out, somebody takes a swing on with a bat.
I was thinking
Or a dog bites
takes a
into
chunk out
Dog
of
bites
it.
on you. So I,
He's hearing all this and he's going, yeah, wait a
Wait a
minute.
minute.
So, all
I
right.
knew what I was getting.
Right, you pretty much answered it, but you haven't answered it directly. Are you willing to take a level one?
Yes, yeah, if the town sees it fit to find the money for all the other things that go along with it and want to pursue it, I am willing to pursue it as the individual.
And again, you said there's not like a set fee for a level one. It's
No,
not.
it says zero cost, but it
Right.
must be sponsored. I believe it's an overnight thing at
Yeah, it is.
at Pittsford.
You start on a Saturday and go to a Saturday roughly. It's something,
Right.
and they go like 9-hour, 10-hour days, I think, if I
Okay.
remember right.
Makes
But
sense.
like, I have to go with a belt, cuffs and a
Mhm.
uniform.
Yep.
And.
Yep.
Whatever that is.
so we'd have to get him
Yeah,
his gear.
That's why I say you'd have to get the gear.
Right.
Doesn't
So,
have to have the firearm at the level.
No, I mean, you're sure.
you know, I wonder also if, like you said, sponsor, we did have a gentleman that lives in town who works for St. Albans Police Department,
Mhm.
who was interested in being the town constable, but wasn't sure.
Right,
It didn't work out with his
Right.
position and his
Right.
schedule. I wonder if a conversation with him on sponsorship could help, which you'd be sponsored through the St. Albans Police Department.
right.
They may even be willing to take on the extra
And-
for another part-time job if you want, you know what I mean?
No.
But that's a connection we could make.
And I think the first step we need to do is look at what other towns are doing in this case.
Yeah.
Where they have gone, the next step, if you will,
Well, I can
to
tell
see
you.
what's required from policies,
Todd,
procedures.
you said you were gonna be in contact with Lieutenant Philippek anyhow.
Yeah.
You could ask him in that communication what most other towns are doing,
I can ask.
if you would, please.
Yeah.
He would be aware.
I know Enosburg, I think she's just level 1 certified,
Right.
as far as I know, and I
Hey,
think, I haven't talked to Fairfield to
The
see.
main
what they're
concern we
doing.
have is it's very difficult to get any assistance out here.
Yeah.
Right?
Which
So,
sounds
I
like
mean,
it should be changing, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you've had multiple positive interactions with that department, which that alone right there tells me that they're doing better than they have been,
I can
so.
tell you, leadership changes bring on different changes within the state.
Yeah, and I think this is the third lieutenant we've had since I've been on board, and
Yeah.
this is the first positive change I've seen.
He's a young lieutenant.
That's good. Maybe he'll stick in there for a while. Okay, so we're gonna do our due diligence on our part, to check with the lawyer, see what our legally what they recommend. We're gonna check with Lieutenant Philippek and see what surrounding towns are doing.
You said.
If
the
he doesn't, I'll
deadline
just
for
call it.
sign up is in February.
It's late February.
I'll call
Late
it the
February.
academy and just ask the
So we have-
academy what everybody
We
says.
have a little bit of time.
Yep.
But
If typically, I know in some cases where towns have gone to the level 2, then they have to provide the weapon, they have to provide the
Car,
ballistic vest, they have to provide all the stuff that goes along with it, so there is a pretty good expenditure that takes place initially. in
Right.
that Initial cost.
well, and I know,
I
like,
mean,
for
cars aren't a
example,
problem, we can go buy a car from state police for $1
Sure.
right now, and you get a
Oh,
used
yeah.
cruiser that's got
Yeah.
a few extra miles on it, that's all.
yeah,
But
well, I can tell you the town of Brighton.
Yep.
AKA
Yep.
Island Pond.
Yep.
They had one for quite a while.
he's a level 3. Here we are. He is a level 3.
Was,
Yeah, yes.
he got voted
And
out.
a friend of mine was in down in the southern part of the city, level 2 certified.
And he got voted out, which was not the one down south, but the one up
Well,
in,
that's the one down south did too.
he did.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's,
It was all policies, procedures, and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do.
and the politics of the
And the
town.
politics of the town, yeah.
We're just discussing two that we know of, that's constables that took it to the next levels. Yeah,
So, I
he's
mean,
no
it's-
longer there.
No.
And that's the concern we have, for you also, is, you go and get your level 2 or level 3. And, in the eyes of the select board, you're doing a great job.
Sure.
In the eyes of the town, you're targeting Steve down the road. Steve gets mad and tells all of his buddies, and the next thing you know, you're unemployed.
Yeah. Right,
You
or
know.
we get a lawsuit on our hands.
Or we have a lawsuit,
So
yeah.
That's the idea,
And
and
that's-
that's really trying to protect both the town.
And that's
and
what's
the-
happened in both of those situations that we were just discussing, is
Yep.
they were doing a great job
Yep.
in some of the town's eyes, and in others, not so much. I know.
Wasn't doing a great job.
Well, I know in the town of Brighton, they got me for over $600.
There you go.
So
He did a good job.
he did a good job.
Good job, yeah.
All I did was roll through a stop sign.
There you go.
Most expensive stop sign I've ever been to, but. But there was, again, he was voted out 3 years after that, and he had no control over it.
Yeah, I thought, we don't have anyone. I thought we appointed Chris to begin with.
We did appoint, yeah.
We could change it to an appointed position via, just like the treasurer is now,
Right. Right.
could be
But-
hired.
But you'd have to ask the town to do that.
We're gonna
But
have to
there
do that on
again-
meeting day.
There again, you go into that and, then you're talking a yearly salary, car,
Yeah, no. that's what I'm
equipment,
saying, right.
liability.
Yeah.
By the time you figure all that in, nothing against what you would be able to do. You have to look and see what it would cost for a contract with the sheriff's department or the state police.
Right.
Who already have all the training, who already have the insurance.
Right.
We're just paying basically a protection fee, which,
The only caveat-
There's a reason that the business model exists, right?
Yeah.
I think that our, I'm a taxpayer too here, right? Like, it's just time distance, right? Like, as much as you could put me here, in the same sense that I can't answer a phone call when I'm, 600 miles
Right.
away doing what I do.
Mhm.
Understood, yeah.
Vermont State Police can't,
Yep.
make their way from my lot here.
And that was the last time we had that that we brought up a contract with the state police. One of the biggest issues was we were paying for, or we're going to be paying for in the contract. I think it was 8 to 10, I think it was 10 hours a week. For patrol.
Yeah.
But the patrol started when they left their house. So say the officer lived in Georgia.
Yeah.
It was an hour to get here. They patrol, hour home. That's 10 hours of travel if they come here 5 days a week, so how much patrol do you really get?
Sure.
Um,
And the other thing is, take a look what just happened in Enosburg with the sheriff's department.
they just dropped
Canceled
them.
the contract. They're like, "Nope, can't help you anymore."
Yeah,
The sheriff's department canceled?
I believe the sheriff's department, I heard, yeah, it was the sheriff's, right, Todd?
Yeah, they're still over there, but they've reduced their coverage because they didn't have the manpower to do it. Or the personnel power, I should say.
so we have some stuff to do on our end. You said the application deadline is mid to end of February.
24th or 6th, somewhere.
Okay, so I would say it's on us to get you a definite before the end of January.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm saying the end of January is it is also budget season, and we're going to be spending multiple meetings between now and the 24th of January. Finalizing the budget and getting that,
We
so,
gotta calculate to pay him for being there. for 8
Correct.
hours, Plus travel, plus, yeah.
yep,
So,
so. That's kind of where we're at with that
Sure.
right now, so.
I don't forget to put in for your hours too.
Yeah,
I have,
please, yeah.
it's really in my court now. I haven't filled out my paperwork just in time yet.
The W-9, yep.
Yep.
Yes, do not short Vera on any paperwork.
Yeah.
So we will not hear about it, and
On the counter, which is the to-do area for a couple weeks, but it does turn out to be whitetail season right now.
Sooner than later though, because she is finishing the year end.
Yeah,
stuff.
she is finishing
If you
year
wanna
end.
Get that check written.
yep,
Oh, if you wanna get paid.
I would say before our next meeting, so it's on the warrant.
Yes,
I
yeah.
guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Before, I would,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll wanna have that,
Don't carry it over
next,
to next.
next
week.
Friday.
Right.
Because the Monday after that is Christmas,
Right.
which would actually be our
Normal.
normal meeting, which I think is probably gonna get bumped to mid to end of the week or whatever.
Yes.
But it would have to be on those warrants in order for you to be paid in this year. Not to make stuff confusing, but
It ends on the 15th.
yep. So,
Plenty of time.
any other questions for us?
No, I don't.
Looks like you've got an awesome
Thank you
stack
very
of,
Here we are with found.
There you go.
Excellent, all right.
Yep.
All
all
right.
right. Thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your dogs tied up. He's on the loose and he's got the book.
There you go.
All right. BCC,
Oh.
welcome. Sorry.
Welcome.
Well, this will fall through, we'll volunteer.
Go take care of it, huh?
They told me no.
What we need.
There you go.
Tammy, I forwarded you the contracts.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, here they are here. Awesome.
Sure, yeah. I have it.
Chill. Tell her, chill.
Thank you.
right? He's talking.
Okay.
That's Terry. She's on online right now. Thank you.
It's not that bad. Right here.
Yes, it's been very good. He has been working on the grant with no contract and I just really. Back we're meeting tomorrow and I don't think he's on the warrant.
Yeah.
I think he's on.
That
That was for-
Oh, yeah.
Tammy, that was MERP. That was, we owed him MERP.
But
Expecting to be paid, but I think he is expecting to have a signed.
To have the
contract.
contract, yeah.
So
That
I think
makes
he's
sense.
doing this work.
A little confusion, I thought somebody thought we were supposed to sign,
Or we could sign it. We
Contract.
thought we could sign it because
Yep.
we are paying half,
but he said.
but he would feel better if you signed it. And I think the idea is if you are going to use him for a grant writer on a regular basis, perhaps a contract that would cover whatever grant work he does with your approval would be the easiest way to go.
And we discussed that before, when we
Yeah.
were doing the
Yeah.
MERP, that we would
Yeah.
take a look. I looked at his pricing and God help me, it was a month ago. I didn't think it was much more than he was charging for MERP.
I think,
You know, you know, he's got that thing set up pretty well, just similar to the contract we currently have.
Yeah, I think it was probably pretty much the same as what he had
It's-
with you.
It's close. So when we ran the, I won't call it the test scenario, but when we used them the first time, we negotiated a rate with the understanding that we would look at, you know, a more long-term, we'd give them a shot with the first one, which I think he did personally. I think he did a good job.
Okay.
You know, and he stays on top of it. It's not done because they haven't rolled out and looked at the building, but that's not because of what he did.
right.
But I think his estimates are pretty close to where they were. And he actually went out and formed his own company to do this. Yeah, because he was like, oh, you know, I don't want to go into this with anything, so I think he did an LLC.
Yes.
Did an LLC.
That makes sense.
Well, he certainly sounds like he's got a lot of experience. He certainly knows a lot more than we do about this whole process, so that is what we felt we needed.
Well, that's the key piece, right? Because these folks know how to work within these contracts. It's like RFP, right? An RFP or responding to one. There are people who
Right.
specialize in it and know how to fill out the paperwork to get it done right. Least amount of questions.
And yeah.
And he is leaving, I think it's on the 14th. So we're,
It's really cover it with only 4, you want 5,
Mm-hmm.
signing it.
You have the quorum.
Yep.
we're hoping that, and I think he'll do a little bit beyond sitting at his computer, but we've been working hard.
That's why
trying
he's
to
on
get
the,
information
that's why he's in there.
asked us to provide. I think the BCC has got
Well, Carolyn gave him a bunch of stuff.
basically what we want to know, what kind of,
What,
paperwork you had or what.
well, I thought it was, there was a lot about, how much have you invested too?
About the community.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that what they're gonna want to know is that the community is behind this.
Yep.
And that
They'll be
there's
supportive.
a lot of people involved in making the BCC work, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So that I think has been covered.
Have you folks ever tended to a situation like this? With a grant, approving a grant and so on? Is this something?
Then on the other side of a grant approval. I haven't, I've worked on some of the other, I've been in receipt of grants before. And done some of that work, but never been on the backside approving them, no.
Yeah,
So-
I did when I worked for Homeland Security as a
Well,
contractor.
this piece of paper that I just passed you,
Yep,
represents how you are going to be reimbursed as we work through this.
If we get the grant.
If
Right.
we're lucky enough.
yep, yep,
So we wanted to get that to you as well. We're gonna try and if we get the grant, we're gonna try to make sure you don't have any surprises.
Yeah.
And so that right here lets you know that it's 50%.
did Tammy get a copy of this?
They paid,
You have a copy
they
of
paid
this
too
thing?
many at
Okay.
100 and then found out the work wasn't done and then tried to recoup. So that's why they've gone to this style. To make
Yeah.
sure the work's done and then,
How much
okay,
was
helps
this
you get
grant
started.
for?
We don't know for sure, but I'm thinking around 75,000, and that's because we've got 2 people that were waiting on assessments for the cost. We have one that we already got through the Vermont Preservation Trust people, and now we have 2 people, one here, is it Mike Lamphere, and the other one is Boone Burleson.
Yep.
Who have come and looked and are going to get us this information to know, number one, estimate of costs. And number 2, how long will it take to do the project? Those are the 2 things that Alex needs to put into the grant application.
The scope and sequence.
So that's,
Yep.
but we
Yep.
wanted you to know right from the beginning, if we get the grant, that it will take a little input on the part of the town, but you will be reimbursed.
Right, so it's
Um,
FEMA grant, right?
Yep,
We put it up and then we slowly get the funds back.
yeah, hopefully faster than FEMA, but yeah.
So we'll see if that really happens.
Yeah, FEMA's been, what was it, 4 or 5 years now, so as long as it's quicker than that, I think we'll be okay.
One stipulation with this grant, if we are awarded that we need to be listed on, become listed on the national historic places.
Right.
Okay,
And they will help us through that process.
And-
It's
and-
pretty well through the
Yeah,
process
they-
already.
They'll take care of it for us, but, yeah, and I think the building qualifies, I don't think there's much question. What we did find out that was interesting that we thought that we were already on that.
Registry.
Yeah, but we're not, I guess, because they didn't like do paperwork on that.
I don't know, it's in her.
Yeah, so that's just nothing that you can do much about, except just know that that's the case. I thought it was a done deal, but when they did research on it, they came back and said, no, not quite, so.
I think you did.
Is this for both buildings or is it just for the carriage barn? Just the carriage.
Not,
So it's very-
yes. Not involved with the bird house.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking. You got the carriage house and the little building next to it.
Not doing the.
Just wanted to, I remember saying that, yes.
Okay.
You know, you did a great job finding it, right? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
You were tasked it, you went out and found it.
This work
Two.
to get back to
So
Alex.
what,
Put it in- in-
so, so we need,
First off,
so what we're looking for, everybody just read through it. So what we need now, as there's only one signature line,
Yeah.
is to,
I would make the motion to accept the contract as written and authorize Josh to sign it as the select board chair for the entire board.
I second that.
motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain as I'm the one being appointed. Vote passed 3-0.
Talk slow.
John, in a second.
I second it. That's the
Wait for it to get in the minutes before I do it.
correct.
Do you have any questions?
No, I think you guys have done a great job.
I agree. I agree.
Thank you for taking the project on.
Well,
Yes.
this will go through, we're gonna be looking for some more, so. it makes sense
Mary
to get-
Krieger is also.
Yeah.
Well, good job.
cutting trees.
Well, that's, well, there's some stuff that needs to be cut down, or the doctor was, well, I don't know if they'll cut that stuff behind the thing on it. But we are gonna be meeting. We are gonna be meeting with Alex.
We need a copy of that. for our
Yep.
records,
Tammy,
please.
can you make sure they get the original so Alex can,
Yeah.
we can have.
We are gonna be meeting tomorrow, no, if you're interested in coming.
After you get his signature, can you bring it back for another copy?
Right.
Just that way we have.
Yeah.
you do it, have both.
We
Yep,
get a file copy.
Right.
yep.
Here.
Thank you.
Oh.
Sign.
Seriously, that was a great
Okay.
job.
Excellent.
Thank you.
One more.
Good job.
Yeah, you old Dodger.
It's just fun.
Yes, we are, we're very,
What's this? That's the month.
Northwest Regional Planning Commission.
ETAP program update.
Who was that?
I don't have
Is
it.
that the one that the girl came and talked about?
Oh, that was,
Did that not get taken off? That's the VSAT program. She was at the last meeting.
Right, she was at the last meeting.
Tammy, did we forget to take the VTAP off here?
She said somebody will come.
Oh, she did, she did.
December 11th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might not be me, but somebody will come.
Anybody in the right?
Can we table that till next month?
We can table that
Next
until,
month?
probably until
Yeah.
February or after the new board has been
Yeah.
elected.
No, you can be here.
No, but I'm saying the
Yeah, I know.
new board meeting after.
Yeah. No, I-
Yeah,
That's-
she said. That's also-
Okay,
That's good.
Yep. all right.
I love that.
Mac is both busy and under the weather.
So just to make everyone aware, there was an accident today on the Boston Post Road. I was talking to Lance earlier. It was from Witch Cat Road down to the town sign. It was in between that, so it was our property.
It's our
We
portion.
had pretty deep slush, very slippery with ice,
So that portion is actually
so.
covered by the Enosburg town. We cover Butternut.
But this is going to the scene, the whole road.
Okay,
From Boston, from 108 all the way through. Trees were in the road because the limbs were down. Hadn't been plowed a lot, so I just talked to Lance. I want to make sure that, I'm sure we might get a complaint. We might get asked about the road policy, how we set up the plowing. So it's just something to be prepared for down the
Yep.
road. If
well, the
it comes into.
the entire state has there's a, what is
It's
it?
not a
That-
clean- it's
that's-
a
that's not a,
state road, not a clean.
yeah, right, so I mean, yeah, I mean,
Mac, when I called and asked him on radio to radio and said, hey, I need you up here to plow this and salt it and sand
Yep.
it. Mark, he came, they were loading. he came
yeah,
right
Mark,
over it.
yeah, I knew Mark was
So,
already on
yeah.
his way when I heard
What's
that.
that about?
About 9:59 this morning.
Yeah.
9:30 This morning, yeah.
Um,
So it's just in case, I don't want to make the board aware that did happen. And the road conditions were not the best. I'm not blaming the road crew, but just to make us aware
Yeah.
that.
cause I know that is the first one, cause I
It's
think
usually one of the first. ones
Mark
they do.
hits that one
He hit
because
the
he load-
avenue, yeah.
because he loads with a salt
Yes.
sand
Yes,
mixture,
Yes.
hits the paved roads.
Yep.
Then goes and does the small roads such as like Pudva Hill,
Yes, yes.
the other ones that the big
Yeah.
trucks can't turn
Right.
around on.
Right.
So yeah, at 9 o'clock, it could have been,
Could have been.
it
his
could have been,
second pass.
it could have been
That's
3
right.
hours since he actually hit it, yeah. Which,
So I can say I take Boston Post to get down to work. So I was on it at about 7:15.
It was pretty good then.
It wasn't bad at all at
Okay,
7:15.
yeah. So it's the build up.
It could have been more hours because the boys are usually out and about. I mean,
They're-
Annie was always by my house at 5:30 in the morning.
yeah, sure.
So,
So it could have been 3 or 4 hours.
which is partway through
Which is,
June.
no,
Yeah.
that's right.
And they all started at the same time, so.
And it did start snowing a lot heavier at that point, which
Yeah.
caused a lot of the trees to bend and stuff.
Yeah, because it was,
Cause it was down to
It's like
one
an inch,
lane
if
in,
that.
below the golf course.
yeah,
Where you go down the hill
yeah.
from that, is it Butternut? I can't remember the name of that road, but that section.
Oh,
going up
Birch
the
Lane.
hill, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That section, the trees were in the
Yep.
road, so it was down to one lane. And
And that's-
it wasn't anything the guys could do. It's just the weight of the limbs were.
Yeah, the
pushed
height
down.
of the trees
Yep.
too, because
Yep.
they're actually, if you look at where
They're
the
further
stumps
off
are,
the road.
they're further ways off
Yeah.
the road, yeah,
Right.
out, probably outside of the.
Yeah.
Outside
So
of
it's
the,
just, I wanted to make the board aware
Yep,
of that.
nope.
But
Enosburg comes up
they-
to the
they come up to
Jarvis's
Witch
barn,
Cat? Okay.
Right.
and they turn around there.
Yep.
Or maybe it's Witch Cat.
I thought it was
Switch
Witch
They- I
Cat,
think, but I think they push off
but I
into
think they
the,
push off, you're right.
into the
Yeah.
barnyard there.
Cause I heard Joey say something on the radio afterwards, can I get up through as Jarvis is done so I can get up into there?
Yeah,
So I think you're right, they push off there.
that was my other question. Do you have the town frequency?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we're working on an issue from the fire department standpoint, the trucks. For whatever reason, we don't know if the last radio install or update that they did, we're not able to talk to Mac, but the radio I have in my truck, I can.
Okay,
So I was able to reach out and get hold of him, and he said, yeah, we're here at the garage. In fact, they asked him to call the town clerk, and the town clerk got a hold of him at the same time.
yeah, because, well, like I said, I was up here earlier this morning
Yeah.
there. And one of the concerns that I had was that we were relying on, the game of phone.
Yes, yeah.
You know, is
Yeah.
it going from this person to this
Right.
person to here?
No,
And if you were calling back to dispatch on your radio to get them to call the
I-
town,
Matt did call back to dispatch and who called the town. I called directly to the town
Okay.
guys. When I got to the foot of Boston Post and started sliding up the hill.
yeah,
I'm like, we better get somebody down here.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know, Todd, if you can get the radio guys to come back.
Yeah, we're
And-
gonna have
and
them
tune
come
your-
look at it. We're gonna come look at it.
Yeah, cause I think. From
That and
from
we-
a safety standpoint,
Yeah.
you guys should definitely be able to directly connect with the town
Okay.
crew.
And we usually can on our base station.
Yep.
It's just nobody was there today. 'cause,
Yeah.
Again, low volume.
And that was one of the things
Yeah.
that Max said when I talked to him. I was like, hey, what's going on with that accident? He goes, cause he thought
Right.
he thought I had been contacted by the fire department. I said, no, I said, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He goes, well, they must have tried my cell phone or something and I don't have service anywhere, even if they called the pager, I don't
They
have
tried
service.
radio and they just couldn't get, I
Okay.
mean, and he told me with my radio, wherever they were, he said, I can hear you and understand you, but it's weak.
Yeah,
I said,
and he was at the,
which he was here, which I
Yeah.
understand, that's a
yeah,
I
pretty
don't know
good
what carrier
distance.
we use, but I know crazily enough, Verizon for some reason seems to be working up here better than AT&T.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
oh, you're talking cell phone.
I'm
Yeah.
talking
So,
cell phone.
What we're talking is getting the two-way radio
Two-way radio.
in there
Yeah.
on their system.
Yeah. We do have it, it's on all our stuff, it's just, and if they're on a portable, of course, it's not in reach.
Right,
It'd be a
right.
mobile radio to really read.
Even with your new base station, you can't.
Well, because we're simulcast on that. If you had simulcast in your trucks, then we
Okay.
could go over simulcast to you guys, which would bounce off our tower here and go that way.
Oh, okay.
But we're calling basically mobile to mobile or portable to mobile.
Okay, okay,
Cause there's no repeater for that system.
right, right.
Right.
Which they have issues with that anyway.
Right.
Like I know they can't call from the town garage
No.
when there's somebody in the pit.
Yeah.
You can't hear
Yeah,
them.
and I've been in here where they tried to call before and it's
Yeah.
really.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's time to upgrade radios in the trucks too, if we can bounce off the towers that the fire department has.
If they'll let us.
Awesome. Who does our service? It used to be Clark's, and they're out of business, right?
No, Clark's is now, what are they called? I can't, Advanced or something. It's a new
Oh,
company.
okay,
that
so
bought them
new
out.
name, then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they're still, the facility's still there, it's just new ownership.
okay.
So that also
Both
means
places,
though,
Plattsburgh and Underhill got sold.
that means that if we were to switch to simulcast though, we wouldn't be able to communicate with Enosburg unless Enosburg switched over too, right?
Right.
Okay, that's where it's the rub.
Yeah,
because
Joey,
then-
Joey and those guys are still on the Edensburg frequency,
Yeah.
same as the ambulance and stuff, yeah.
All right. So, reclassification, we held off. on-
You see what I sent you?
Yep.
Yeah, basically, it's, what I found is we would have to, we can either, there's two ways, either the select board chooses to, change this road, or they get a petition from someone asking to change the road. Then you have to do the 30-day notification of a special meeting, but prior to that, you have to notify all adjoining landowners and the state that you're holding this meeting and what the purpose of that meeting is.
To reclassify.
And then once you have the meeting, if you then decide to go through with it, then you just reverse that order again, and everyone has to be sent the final notice saying we've elected to change it from a class 4 to a trail.
Okay.
And then the state gets involved. The state has a little bit of input, but that's pretty much what the law says.
Okay.
Right out of the state statutes. Okay.
Watch the recording.
Bunch of recording. Yeah. So basically, we have to give a 30-day notice of a meeting. Whether we're the ones choosing to do it or someone petitions. Then based on that, before we can have the meeting, we have to notify all of the adjoining landowners that we're having this meeting and what the purpose of that meeting is. Once we have the meeting, then we need to again go back to the landowners and publish. And I think there's an appeal. I think there was an appeal time in there, 230
Probably
days or
30
60
days,
days
yep.
or something.
Yeah.
That once you've made your decision, you have to notify all those main people and the public to make them aware.
So you need to notify them that needs to be published in paper?
It has to be done by certified
Certified
registered mail. You have to have them signed for something.
No.
And then the public, yeah, has to be posted in.
Well, that's the 30-day notification.
Yeah.
That's just like anything.
The two
Three locations.
Three
public-
locations. I
Three
think,
public
yeah.
locations.
Yeah.
That's how we did it the last
Bulletin
time.
board,
So no.
store. No,
I don't think so, no.
no, I don't believe so. It just said posted.
So I think I,
I would wait until like maybe March, April.
well, that's what I was thinking, is this is gonna have to be something that,
Yeah,
first of all, you wouldn't be able to do a site visit
no.
in, you know, if it
I'd
keeps
wait for
going.
warmer weather to do something on this,
Okay,
but at
So-
least we know the process.
right. So Tammy, what I'll have you do is under reclassification of class 4 roads. Tabled till,
The first
let's say,
meeting in
April?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
when we can do a site visit and get two locations, yep. Again, final access permit for Larry Lawyer.
That was
Okay,
done.
that one has been covered, I thought so, but, same thing with Ardeg,
No.
yes. That was handled, yes, it was, our final decision on that is, it was up to,
Documentation. So I was sure you were done.
is your mic still on?
No, your mic's on, talk slow.
No, we're just, I thought Ardeg had been handled, and Tammy said you asked for some additional information.
I asked for the original contract and I have not read that yet.
Okay, so do you want us to leave it there, or is it,
Leave it there for one more meeting.
okay? Independent contractor insurance,
That's the beer stuff.
That's Vera.
That's the
Yeah.
beer stuff.
which was handled, right? That was discussed at the last meeting, she told us.
So you had a question about it, John. You wanted it on there.
Well, the question was, for instance, workers' comp and things like that for Alex, who doesn't even come to a town building.
Well,
You know what I mean?
if
He's
he, if he
1099.
didn't submit his paperwork, there was the issue of workman's comp, but
Right.
they were workman's comp audits were
But-
counting him if he did not submit paperwork.
But for people who are not working on town property,
They still want it. They
contractors.
still even want it. for
They,
12
I think what they're asking for is proof of.
Right.
So they should have their own insurance. We don't
Right.
necessarily have to provide. If they don't
It's
have it,
the
then we
audit-
should be
it's the-
providing it.
Right, and
Workers'
it's,
comp.
I mean,
understand.
but it's workman's comp, but it's not
Yes.
workman's comp as in you're gonna trip over your chair and break your arm while you're working for us, it's,
Right.
you're ensuring your
It's
documentation
also
is filled out.
liability. It's a liability.
Which, that's how I interpret that.
I think
But
you're
pretty
right.
much the only one we were wondering about was Alex, and
And that's
he's
taken
already
care of.
submitted his
He
stuff.
submitted his errors and omissions and stuff.
Perfect.
MERP is,
I'll
you can
drop that
jump
one.
over MERP. We just paid them for it. We're still no
Okay.
updates.
No updates,
No, we're in the queue to get
Warrants.
examined.
warrants are here, they've been covered. Review the mail now.
Here comes the fun part.
Yeah, we got some stuff in there today. It's a little different. Cemetery will need to save each warrant individual, the next warrant number. Okay, this is, I asked Vera when I was in here today. This should go under others, but, for a list of. Like what she does, not necessarily on the, on the daily, but
A general scope of.
yep, what she does for property taxes, what she does for end of year.
Yep.
What she does, she even had, I think it's in this one somewhere. Her month to month.
Right.
It's not in this one, it's in one of the other ones that she gave me. But these are the two documents,
Scope of work.
3 documents that are her scope of work. Here's the one that's monthly, what's gotta be done. Weekly and broke down once a month, and then these are for the cemetery, the library, the roads, property taxes, the whole breakdown there. So these 3 documents here are the overview, but not in-depth scope of work of the treasurer's position. This came upon today because I came in and asked about options. And one of the options that I asked about was somebody who does have a full-time position.
Right.
That has the background knowledge in treasurer, not necessarily in finance. They could have an assistant treasurer that was here 2 days a week. To receive, to do basic filing and to, what was the other thing we discussed?
Checks, mail, do the mail.
Mailing.
Yeah.
And then have, for lack of a better term, the treasurer come in and audit that work. You know, whether that be after hours, or what have you.
Be doing the input to the system.
That would be the treasurer, but they would literally be pulling.
They'd be.
Look over the document, make sure it's correct, punch it in.
Yeah.
It would be that was one option we talked about.
Okay.
To try and fill that position, you know, gets the work done. The treasurer puts their name to the work that they are signing off on. Because let's face it, we've got to figure something out at this point, because we're down to the nitty gritty here. So that's where this came about. So anybody that wants to look at this, you're more than welcome. It's broke down pretty well. Again, thank you.
Interested candidates that have come forward since.
We haven't.
No, I didn't know.
Move back to Vermont.
We did, yeah, the last
That's what
person.
I'm saying.
We did not reboot the Burlington Free Press ad, but we didn't.
So I guess what we'll do is we'll skip, because one of the others I had was the treasurer.
Right.
So this is the scope of work. The other thing that's been brought to my attention is that if we are trying to hire a treasurer that is going to be here, you know, 3 to 4 days a week, doing the job that is outlined, the 18.5 isn't going to get you somebody into that position.
You're looking at like 20 to 30 type of a thing.
I think that's where you're gonna end up.
Based on skill set, or based on, not skill set, but based on actual history of what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's gonna be period.
Right, right.
I think what we could do is we could offer a higher level
Mhm.
and then say, based on experience, you know, put out a base level that's higher to try to get some people to bite, and then say, you know, wage dependent on experience.
Maybe we give them that starting wage, and then there's something that says if things are going good that first year, there'll be a substantial. or a good
Yeah,
sized increase, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I'm afraid that's the only way we're gonna get that position filled.
We're not the only one hurting. There's a
I know-
lot of
I know.
towns that are hurting for treasurer positions for some reason.
Now, obviously that pay, you know, if we decided to up the pay, that wouldn't. How can I say this? If we were to talk about the model that I just described about having a treasurer that was checking the work of an assistant treasurer, it would probably be the same amount of money spent, but more of that money would go towards the assistant treasurer
Right,
position,
that's what I was just
because they're gonna
thinking.
have more hours in,
Down.
yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So that one you might have to figure out like an hourly, you know, like.
Yeah.
what are we paying that person an hour type of deal. But I mean,
I still don't know why we don't just take the thing to an hourly across the board and they'd offer like $40 an hour. I'm pretty sure someone would come in for $40 an hour,
and
35.
the only problem with that is it's hard to budget. You know, somebody coming in that first year
They're gonna,
at $40 an hour, say they work 12 hours a week. Okay, we can budget for that. You know, but, or we set the budget for 12 to 15 hours a week and they end up having to work 20 because it's taking them longer to process.
I'm with you there.
You know, and that's the part that I'm struggling with is how do you budget for that? Now, I mean, my background's forestry. You work more hours, you get more wood out, you pay your own salary type of deal, you know,
Right.
on my.
It's like
So,
a mechanic.
Yeah,
Get it
yeah.
done.
This isn't necessarily that type of way because of the way that we have to budget for it. So I'm a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit out of my realm here.
I think you hit it on the head, though. If you have someone that has a lot of experience, their time on the job is gonna be less.
Right.
But if it's someone that's learning,
It's gonna
they're
take
just
more.
starting out, you're gonna have more hours because it's gonna
Yeah.
take them.
We know, yeah, it should tailor off a bit.
It should
as
tailor
you-
down, right?
And there are periods that there are months that this individual is just gonna be doing the same job over and over.
Right.
and over again.
Right.
It's 3 months out of the year, if I remember what Vera said.
Yeah,
So pretty much September, October and January,
Right.
you know, are the big months.
Those are the-
Call it 4 to prep for the audit. It isn't the way it sounds, but let's just call it 4 months. So you figure you go heavy on those months.
so my only question there, John, is, so, you know, let's say Lance takes the job, okay? And Lance comes in the first year and he's working 20 to 25 hours a week.
Mhm.
Learning the job, getting everything squared away in his realm. So he's making, you know, what is that? $800-900
Yeah.
at $40 an hour.
Yeah.
So he does that. The next year he comes back. And that same,
I'm doing now. It's only gonna take me 2/3 the time.
yeah,
Whoa, hang on.
I can't
That's
afford
why
to
you-
do that.
My
so,
patience.
yeah, so we don't want somebody in here that just.
It's how you spend the job, right? You just literally put out that the expected time is 10 to 12 hours a week on most weeks throughout the year, except for 3 months, you know, and we understand you're going to do maybe 15 to 18 to start with until you learn how to pay the checks. But paying the employees, you know, you're paying them every other week. I wouldn't anticipate that you would need this extra big time after doing it 4 times. I think you would have your system down. But
I don't think, in talking with Vera, it's not so much this
Yeah,
No,
as it is
the other stuff,
the other
this crew.
yeah.
let me just,
And when I say this crew, I mean, we're talking cemetery, library, taxes, it's the,
it's like,
yeah.
you've got, that's the skeleton of the job. Then you've got the flesh that walks in here. And it's every single, like so many times Vera's like, okay, I'm all set. And then the next thing it's like, boom, and she's doing all kinds of stuff over and over and over again. That's not on that.
Yeah, but that you're still going with Vera, which is
She's been here
fine.
30 years.
That's what it's my point.
Can you
So
imagine how
Vera's
to take
taking
somebody
15
else?
If Vera's taking 15 hours, if Vera's working 4 hours a day while the office is open, I would expect that the new treasurer be working 4 hours a day while the office is open,
I'd be
right?
expected the new treasurer to be working like 7 hours a day.
Probably.
Well,
Try to keep up with what Vera can do in full.
well, it depends if you're hiring somebody who already knows the job.
We can't
Listen,
get
pay,
anyone a job.
pay them whatever, pay. It's our treasurer $150,000 a year. Go get someone.
I don't-
John, we're not attracting somebody who is qualified to do what Vera is doing at what we're offering.
I had somebody who wanted to look at the job.
Where are they? We've been.
the problem was, is they got, yeah, he got shut down.
Wanted to come in off hours and was told that's not acceptable. They need to be here Monday to Friday during open hours. They wanted to do things on the weekends or off site and they were told that's not acceptable. So we had someone interested because we didn't want to be somewhat, and they were interested 18.5. We didn't want to be flexible.
And what was their experience?
Well, they run, on accounting side, they do something with photography, they're accounting for the photographers. So they have some, and they do office management for, medical. So, yeah, we had somebody, we decided that we were like, no, they have to be here 4 hours a day. Or, you know, at least 3 days, 4 days a week. We did this to ourselves. Now
No,
the individual's like, no, I don't, you know, if that's gonna be the case, no, it worked for me. If I could come in on Monday night when we had our meetings, take the warrants and do the employees' checks.
that's the
Can't,
tiniest piece of the job.
that's not, Tammy, Tammy, I love you, but you are one of the most. I
Because
got
I've
a brick
seen
wall in front of me, you can't get around it
No.
to save your life. It can be
should
made out of
offer
tissue paper.
Somebody.
You gotta figure
anybody
50
a
miles
good
down to come
wage
back.
So that they'll come and do the job.
You don't, but we had someone who wanted to
No.
do the job. Yes,
Not the way they wanted to do the
not the way
job.
you want it done.
No, not the way Vera said it could be done. Vera, we were talking with Vera about that.
There are plenty of opportunities right where this office is empty.
I've seen
We've got to be a little bit flexible because we're not offering a 40-hour a week job.
Just think about it. How many hours, how many times have we heard people who said, I can't get to the town's clerk office between 8 and noon, Monday to Friday. I'd love to have some hours later. Well, if this person's here working, what do we supply them?
I don't,
A body here later.
I'm not.
No,
caught
we
up
don't.
on what
They can do
hours
the
they're
town
working,
clerk's
as long
office
as they're
job.
Working the hours needed to get the job done.
Right.
If they do it all at night, if they do it all at night, I don't care.
And that's what John was saying. And that's what
Has to be somebody.
Unless there's someone who has to be here for some things during the day, I guess that's.
Has
Right.
to be somebody
So-
here during the day.
I think to an extent, I agree. Okay.
Or is,
Um,
can I collect, here's a payment, can I just collect it, put it on the desk without going through the process?
And I wouldn't say
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
but
Right, you know,
and it was discussed today, a
Right.
Dropbox.
Right,
For,
we did
Yep.
discuss that.
you know,
like we talked. about.
and when I say we, I asked Kathy, you know, I was like, what are some of the issues that you see with somebody not being here, like you said?
Right.
And she was like, one of the biggest issues is when we have people come in
With payment.
and with payments that want to pay cash in particular,
Right.
which happens.
Happens a lot.
Well, and that's great. But to John's point, there's no reason that couldn't happen at 6 o'clock at night either.
That's right.
With the treasurer here.
Correct.
If you,
So
if you
could
put
we-
the hours out that the treasurer is here from
Yes.
6:30 to 9:30 at night.
Right.
I agree.
Whatever it may be, we push somebody away who wanted this job.
So, and,
Because we couldn't
and,
think outside
and
the
I,
box.
and I understand that. And that's where I came in
Right.
today and I was trying to figure out, trying to get to questions, trying to get this.
But that was someone willing to come here and do the work, not someone doing
Right.
it remotely. I guess
Remote.
That's it.
Right.
That's confusing.
What they were saying was they were willing to come on site after hours.
Yeah.
They were willing to take a laptop and do the behind the scenes that don't have the dealing with the people up
You don't have
front
to
and
be
work remote. Right.
And I
They
don't
were
think,
willing to do the hours.
and I don't think there's any issues. I don't think there's any issues with the updating of spreadsheets.
No.
The updating of QuickBooks. Now, I don't particularly agree, it wouldn't matter who the treasurer is, of any funds
Right.
leaving
I
the
agree with
facilities.
I agree.
That needs to be taken care of on site. That wouldn't matter. I mean,
That has to be done within the
Yeah.
confines. of the-
Right.
but I don't see any reason why the documenting and the recording of couldn't be done remotely.
Now,
Right, I
the
agree
other
with
question I have is, if I bring in cash funds at night, would that person have the ability to lock those somewhere or, you know what I'm
They would
saying?
have to be given that ability.
Sure, yeah, they can
Right.
get it
Yes.
safe.
And how
Um,
safe are they gonna be here working at night alone? That's
So-
the other, that's
and-
the other aspect.
And my other question, not my other question, my other point is, you have that person
Right.
who is willing to come in and work those hours. And also, we don't have one, we should, it's been pointed out multiple times. We have the assistant treasurer
Right.
here 2 days a week during those 4 hours
Mhm.
that the lobby is open.
Right.
Right.
And yeah, you're gonna have a person collecting during the day because that is not Kathy's job. She's the delinquent tax
Right.
collector. She is not the tax collector.
Right.
But there's no reason that you couldn't have a qualified individual here doing some of the less I don't want to say less important, because that just makes me feel like I'm.
It's a daytime stuff.
But it's important, but the less technical
Right.
Right.
stuff, the filing and documenting, that could be taken care of by an assistant treasurer during the hours, not collecting to receipt, but collecting to say that it has been received. You know, it would be up to the treasurer to come in at night. and-
We're open for business.
Yeah,
The biggest thing I see besides that piece is making deposits. Obviously, you'd have to be here to collect or whatever to take to the bank to make a deposit.
Yeah,
That makes
right,
perfect sense.
Yep.
But
Yeah, documents are all over. I mean, the assistant treasurer could make a deposit.
exactly.
exactly, you get all the documents together and the assistant treasurer takes.
I had the same,
So,
basically, when I worked for the state, that's the way I had to do all my processing of checks had to be done within the state facility.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to bring any
Do
home.
you still have a contact with this person?
I know them personally, but I think they took a different role. We really missed. Cause we just couldn't think outside the box. Nobody, it was just like, we can't do it. I'm like, we can.
I've been trying, I'm just trying to get all the information together,
Yeah.
because I'll be honest with you,
That
if this was if my wife was looking at this, she could tell you exactly what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how it needs to be done. I don't think like that.
No, I get.
I think completely different. And that's where, I've been in here multiple times to talk with Vera, multiple phone calls with Vera to try and figure out how we can get somebody, like you're saying.
But you're doing another Vera, that. That's the other.
No, we're not gonna get into it.
Yeah, we've been spoiled.
You've been spoken, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
But even not another Vera needs more money.
I agree, I would agree with that.
I mean, I think. Now, let me clarify that. Not another Vera, the position needs more money. Now, whether that goes to John, who's the treasurer,
Right.
or it's split between John and Lance, who's the assistant treasurer,
I agree.
I agree, that position would need.
I don't even know if you'd want to split it, because the assistant treasurer is going to be doing unimportant stuff. The treasurer's a big position.
You gotta pay them.
You gotta pay the treasurer. You don't want to take from this little peanut.
No, what we're saying, what I'm saying, Tammy, is if we budget, say, just throwing out easy numbers here, say we budget $50,000 for the treasurer position,
Mhm.
okay? Now, we hire the treasurer who does the work that has already been organized by the person doing the less important work.
Mhm.
Okay, that less important work person still needs to be paid.
Right.
Now, out of that 50,000. This is just hypothetical.
I'll write this down.
15 of that goes to the assistant,
35.
35 goes to the treasurer, because the treasurer is putting their name and their certification on that documentation. But the person doing the small work here,
It's a little.
they still need they still need to be compensated for their time.
Right.
I
They
agree.
both do.
Right, it's just that person with the degree and the knowledge, or,
So in a sense, you're not paying the treasurer 50,000. You're not budgeting for a $50,000 treasurer. You're budgeting for a $30,000 treasurer and a $15,000 assistant.
Yes.
Just.
No,
erase
you're
that
right.
one.
No, yeah, yeah.
treasurers.
You don't want to make
Treasurer.
it sound like you're
Right.
taking from the treasurer to pay the assistant.
Yeah, where the hell you'd like, yes, but when we're figuring out on the budgeting end,
Okay.
the
Treasurer department.
treasury department
Department,
Right.
okay.
There you
needs a
go.
salary of,
Got it.
I like that treasury department. I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
a good way to word it. Yep.
well, the government's worded it for a couple of years.
That makes it, yeah. And then,
I just, because I feel like we're getting into that, and the person that does the peanuts is
Right.
also gonna have to be able to be on a signer, because say the treasurer is gone.
so do
Right.
we want to put out?
And the person that
another
does the
ad?
peanuts
Is it
has to
Updated.
know what's going on in a sense.
I think we do need to run an updated ad, don't you?
With
Yes.
a newer amount
John?
of.
I think we need to run something.
Yeah.
We're really stuck,
Hmm.
right? I mean, who's gonna do this come January 1st? I know.
Oh,
Vera's-
The only other person who can sign checks.
Have we talked
Yeah.
to the unemployment office?
I'm the only other
To
person.
see
who's
if there's
signed-
anyone out there currently that's unemployed that has a qualification?
I'm not sure we have.
I have anything.
Is that an option?
Here's
Well-
checkbook.
Checking with the unemployment office saying, hey, Bakersfield's looking for you. You've got anybody down there that's getting unemployment that, may need a job and do they fit this criteria?
Right. Do they have experience as a?
Yeah, they get
accountant?
laid off from their accounting
Well,
firm. and-
I'll be honest with you.
I'm just saying, I don't know, it's just another avenue.
Whoever
Remind
comes,
me-
Along with doing, I think we do both.
whoever comes for it needs a severe background check, and I mean a severe background.
No, I
check,
agree.
Financial
No, you're right.
and criminal,
Well, it's gotta be, yeah,
Yeah.
no different than the one we did with Sam.
Joshua,
financial and criminal.
Yeah, the one we
Yeah.
did with Sam.
Who says?
Same thing.
Sam Koff?
Alan?
God.
Yes, the young lady that
Yeah.
worked
Oh,
here for
okay.
a couple of weeks.
Sorry.
We did a full.
We
We
did
did a full background check on her. and,
Felonies and all that.
Yep. Um. Yeah, I gotta talk, yeah,
I just put a range, depending upon experience.
yeah, so that wasn't even what we were talking about.
Well, no.
Okay, so that covers the treasury salary.
Before we go on, how do we want to approach if we're gonna readdress
Salary.
salary
Yeah, we're gonna
and,
have to.
and re-advertise?
What do we
if
think?
That's what we want to do.
We advertised it at 18.5, correct?
Yes.
That's what we advertised it at.
I think we have to advertise it as, I don't think 20 is enough,
no, I would
Up
take
to,
a 30.
depending upon experience.
up to a certain number depending on experience, yes.
Do we? So yeah, there's a couple ways to go with that. You go up to,
We need a floor.
you need a floor.
Yeah.
So do you say, do you give a range? Do you say 20, oh, excuse me,
Whatever, yeah.
25 to 30,000 a year based on experience and ability?
I think it's Terry, because I got the same buzz.
Is it?
What's the current one?
Mhm.
What's your?
18.5.
18.5 is what she gets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even Vera has said,
Yeah,
and
no,
point
I agree.
blankly said,
Many times.
Yeah.
this is, she was happy with it. Or I shouldn't say happy. She was,
She was
didn't
willing to
want
do
the
it.
job.
right. She was
wanted to
content.
take
She was
what's
content.
budgeted So she could get out.
I hesitate to go 25. Let's go 22.5.
Yeah, I agree.
To 30
Yeah.
Yeah,
based on experience and
yeah, I agree.
What's our tax roll?
Yeah, that's the other.
How much is our tax roll?
9.
Oh, yeah. So what was it?
It was 10% of the
No,
total
it was-
tax.
Wasn't 10.
way.
1%.
I'm sorry, 1% of the
I was
total
gonna say,
tax. Boy, I was really.
1% of the total tax is
What the treasurers who get voted in is.
no, what, oh,
That
hell,
was one of the state suggestions.
Maria asked for. Which would have put us up, I think, 47,000 a year.
1% of the tax is
No.
what the state suggests for the treasurers that get voted in.
That's correct. That's where that came from.
And if I remember correctly, it's 2.8 million.
Yes, it was 28.
What it-
He's
and
correct.
that's what Maria was going
Is there
for.
budget?
He
Okay,
is
so it's
correct.
28.
Yeah.
Right, so, yeah, 22.5 to 30 and call it a day.
I think that's what I would do, yep.
Okay,
Yeah, this got changed. If
Yeah.
you remember, maybe you don't, Vera's the one who got this changed originally because they were talking about pulling that.
Yep.
And she was concerned and she said, hey, the
At least we
position,
can see.
this
and then I would
amount.
also
Yep.
I would call that employment.
I remember that
See
conversation,
anyone
yes.
out there that has the qualifications.
so yeah, I mean, that way we have the same range as every other town who has theirs elected.
Yep.
Right, we're not doing anything outside.
so Tammy, do you have that down? 22.5
22.5 to 30,000.
to 30,000 based on qualifications and
Experience.
experience.
Okay,
So
so
you could almost,
Background check.
you could almost put performance in there. If somebody came with the
It's
basic,
not just experience, because if they don't perform, then why give them the
right, so I mean,
They
if
perform before or after they've got the job?
after,
after?
I'm saying, so what I'm saying is we go in, we would actually budget for, the full 30,000.
But we may not give.
And then they come in, we say, okay, based on your qualifications and experience, we're willing to offer you 24,000
Okay, so
with a, yeah,
so that we
based
don't
on-
have to revisit this conversation about
Make a motion.
salary.
yep,
I make a motion
okay,
that we reword our job description or
Job listing,
listing.
the job listing.
the job listing as paying $22,500 to $30,000 dependent on experience and performance.
And a successful background check.
And a successful background check, yeah.
Can I edit that?
Yes.
Based on, you want qualification? Not performance,
Not before.
because we wouldn't know
Okay.
performance until after.
Yeah,
the-
you're right, absolutely.
Qualifications And
What was the first word he said?
What was
Qualifications.
the one? And based on,
qualifications
no, okay.
and experience.
Lance makes the motion, we reword the job listing as paying $22,500 to $30,000 depending on qualifications and experience and
Not,
Successful
Background
background
check.
check.
And a what?
Successful background. check.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you want, Josh, the term you're looking for is KPIs. They're key performance indicators, i.e. that's how you, nowadays, that's the buzzword for,
Okay.
do we give you a raise?
what's it called?
KPI, key performance
Indicators.
indicators. It's how, when you do a review, that's what they base your review off of.
Indicators.
Need a second.
We do need, did you second that, Doc?
Indicators.
I'll second it. Nobody else is.
Motion has been made and seconded. I would repeat it, but I can't. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carrie abstained. I'm joking. Not here. She's, yeah.
Okay, so,
We lost one of the cameras.
Run it again. Run it in the,
where?
everywhere. We don't have a choice.
I actually.
Run it.
So the Free Press, the Messenger,
Facebook, the
Facebook. Get that to.
Go on Facebook.
Front page forum.
front page forum.
yeah.
You know, I also agree with Todd.
What's that?
I agree with Todd where maybe we should just call down to unemployment and see if there's somebody looking for work. That may be the answer
Right.
as well. If we have
Yep.
that avenue open to us.
Can't hurt. Worst they can say is you've got nobody qualified.
Are there any
Everybody-
state sites that we can access?
Well, I mean, you must be able to post it on,
LCT.
post it on VLCT.
There's a ton of them.
I mean, post it everywhere.
Yeah.
It might even be worth calling like the town of Fairfield or somebody else who's looking and see if we can team up.
That's the
I've
key.
done that.
That's
Who's called, who we called?
Fairfield, Montgomery, Richford.
Montgomery's not looking for one though. I mean, another town that's looking for one.
No, I was looking for them to take us on.
Right. What I'm saying is if another town was looking and they're looking for a part-time, we're looking for a part-time, you know.
Well,
We started offering,
You're 70,000.
yeah, exactly.
Isle of Lamont, I think, didn't their treasurer, everybody retired, everybody quit?
Yeah.
Town clerk, treasurer and whatever,
Isle
they all just walked out.
the islands,
Isle of Lamont.
basically the big island of the Isles.
The whole kid
What else?
community stuff.
All right, next up on mail, since we didn't actually start mail,
Email.
review mail. We have a tax sale coming up, if you'd like to look at that,
So
Tax sale is tomorrow, 9:30,
tomorrow at 9:30. If it goes through.
It's Wednesday,
is it? I stand corrected, it's Wednesday at 9:30.
Wow.
Wednesday at 9:30.
Oh. That's long.
holy schmoly.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Oh, that's total.
Yes, yes, yeah.
If that's one person, boy, they've been a few years.
No, there's 4.
Couple days.
We do have a thank you letter here.
And those are all.
Frame that thing and put it on the wall.
What?
I think one will probably be redeemed before that.
Somebody's grateful for what we do?
We sent a flower arrangement to a,
They do that.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
The town clerk's son.
and this is the letter from, I believe it says the grandson.
Grandson of Mary Lumbra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's. So we'll put that one
Thanks.
there. Staff attorney. Tammy, do you know what this one is?
Oh, that's that thing about the cemetery having, that the resignations of the cemetery commission.
Oh, correct. Yes, yes. All right, I didn't read that. So, yes. We spoke a little out of turn
Oh, we did?
a little bit.
Well, the letter
Last-
was addressed to you guys.
The letter was addressed to us. We accepted a resignation from the cemetery commission
Yep.
last meeting.
Oh, I wasn't. Okay.
This just states that, did we ask for this or was this submitted out of the
That was
kindness of
asked
their
for.
hearts?
By
The cemetery commission.
cemetery commissioner who couldn't access the portal.
Gotta put a
Okay.
parliamentary
So-
procedure.
Well, what happened was, the resignation should have gone to the cemetery commission and the cemetery commission as a whole should have let the select board know. This also states that they are not, I don't want to say not to, but they do not, appoint a person to fill that position. We will have to wait until March
Right.
to fill that
Voted in,
position.
right?
It'll be
Yeah.
voted in. In some cases, Mr. Mayo,
I wasn't here.
Mr. Mayo.
Okay.
But there's a second one I thought that resigned as well.
There was, I haven't got to that letter yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
It's in there.
It's all right. It's just further deep.
Are they coming to present that to us?
So how many do we have on that?
I think we're down to 3 now.
So it's 5 total.
There's 5,
That was-
yeah.
that was-
Will resign.
Yes,
So I can go there.
okay.
Um. Just a quick note, to let you know, the specific topics being presented Tuesday's flood recovery check-in. This is the MTAP. Pre-approval municipalities.
Oh,
There is a meeting. Tomorrow. If anybody wants to,
I cannot.
yeah, it's 1 to 2 p.m. I'm in the middle of classes at that point.
What?
The MTAP, this is the one that the woman came and presented in at last meeting.
Okay.
The free money that we questioned. And she
Right.
came in and explained it to us.
That was the Northwest Regional Planning Commission showed up for it, that we
Right.
thought was the VTAP.
Yeah, why does that say? Well, maybe that's a different one. That's VTAP. This is
I
MTAP.
don't think they were the same, right?
Pre-approved municipalities.
That's the municipality,
Right.
funds,
Oh, for,
a multitude of things.
but this one is more, according to this, is for cities and towns impacted by the flooding.
Yes,
We were not.
Yeah, Katie's pushing that hard, right?
Yeah,
I gave her that one for the file.
okay, that one is
Garbage.
garbage at this point. Public safety engagement session, we just had the chief or the
Okay.
police guy here, we're good there. Franklin County budget meeting, please be advised there will be a provisional
Provisional?
no, that's the name of that courthouse, I can't read that. At the,
Shangri. Please be advised that there will be a meeting at the Percival Shangri Courthouse, 17 Church Street, St. Albans, on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. The purpose of this meeting is to invite discussion and review of the preliminary proposed 2024-2025 budget for the county of Franklin. All are welcome.
feel will show.
In person or by Zoom, please contact Franklin County Clerk.
We have some of them. Represents the town at the better bailiff or whatever.
Thank you, thank you.
Supposed to.
No, I'm saying there's
Yeah.
someone, right?
We have, well, the town agent, which
Yeah.
I believe is Mr. Krieger,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
He represents us with that type of stuff.
Did anyone let them know about it?
Tammy, would you forward a copy of this letter to Mr. Krieger?
I can, but
Thank you.
December 12th is tomorrow,
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Or two when you get home.
5:30, yeah,
So
airmail.
what we have here is the dispatch contract.
That one.
Yes,
What's that up to?
17,728.
Yep.
Why do I feel like that's actually down?
Well, it might be because what they talked about is that
Yeah.
if they're starting to look at simulcast and you hear that amongst all dispatch departments.
I feel like we were over 18 last year.
I think we might have gone down a little and some might have gone up a little.
So
don't
what's that,
call
that's
enough.
dispatch?
Yeah, the dispatch contract for 2025, actually.
I know that's what they're trying.
Did it say when that had to be signed?
Yes.
Who's it with?
St. Albans
City.
City.
Dispatch service was $16,884.
Alright,
Sir, you found it before me.
I won.
I know that's what they're doing.
alright. I
They
was
put the new tower in Georgia.
Terms
part of
of
that.
this agreement shall be for a 1 year period of July 24th to June 30th. Or sorry, July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
So that can wait for town meeting day?
No, we have to sign it beforehand because this has to be budgeted for.
Yep.
This is a non-negotiable, so it gets rolled into the general fund.
So do we want to put it in our budget folder?
It will go in the budget folder. I'm also putting this in there. If anybody at any point,
Return by date. though.
I didn't see a return by date. It just has to be. This agreement is made on blank day of blank 2023.
So we just go in the day.
By 2023.
Yeah.
We're before, yeah, before the end of.
So we need to put it on the.
Needs to be,
So the
discussion
next
budget.
meeting.
yeah, so we'll put that back in reports.
But keep that in the mail.
We don't,
Is that in the
we don't
middle?
really, we don't really have
Volume.
a,
That's the other piece of it.
You don't really have a choice.
we don't really have a choice.
No discussion, you just sign it.
So
Well, we need to make a copy. so we
signed and
can-
returned prior to December.
So How about the?
So what is today?
Today's the 11th. So then why don't we do a motion to accept
That's what I'm talking about.
the emergency dispatch contract as presented?
I'll second
Are you
that.
making the motion, John?
Yeah,
did.
I mean, we have to do it. There's.
I agree.
I agree.
We don't, we
Except-
really don't have a choice. We don't have an alternative.
But we need a copy of it so that we can budget.
This agreement is made this the 11th.
You said to accept the emergency.
day
dispatch
of-
as presented.
As presented and is this a
Contract.
one signer, Josh?
The
I
contract.
believe it
yeah.
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
And to have the chair Josh Gosh sign
Tammy, do you have your
stamp.
stamp?
My notary thing.
Yep,
I don't, do you have keys?
Yes.
Okay, you can get me in.
I do.
because it has to, I'm pretty sure this has to be stamped. It has 2 witness locations. So the motion has been,
Hold that.
John, can you hold?
Hold on.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of us signing this contract, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I will abstain as I am being given the right to sign this. Tammy, do you want to watch me sign it so you don't?
I want some ID.
Well, could have your birth certificate, ID.
Firstborn child, no.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
Where are you going the wrong way?
Going to get her thing.
Guess I'll wait.
Okay, what else we got on? Brigham Academy is gonna be a no-go tonight, right? That's been postponed.
Brigham
So-
Academy is that the informational meeting was postponed. I will inform the board
When the next date will be.
when we decide on the next day.
That's what. Flying through this.
We do have a backup. Okay, there is another contractor that is interested. I've taken him on a walkthrough. He is still interested. Wants to be included in the informational meeting. I will inform him of that date as well.
In your public notice that, and this is just a question, did it explain, because one of the people called me and said, well, what's the meaning?
So one of
to
each
do
of these will
with
have to, or you can witness and one of them will have to witness.
Kind of thing, and I said, I think it's.
Or do you want them to witness and he'll sign here?
Future for the building
Yeah,
is.
that's what I said.
So,
Yeah, I
Is this
just
a
want to
new,
make sure I didn't speak out of turn.
Do you want to witness?
is this a new person?
And then is this
Potentially?
witness
Or is this
also
a
that?
continuation?
I think that's them.
They have to do that. That one has to be witnessed.
Are they trying to work together or is someone saying, I'll do it over the?
But I wasn't sure. I figured it'd be just as good to have it notarized too, so that they can't.
Each
separate?
one, yeah.
We
Do you
gotta-
need
One
this?
says I can't get the funding, the other might jump and say, I've got the funding.
Okay.
That's just where it needs to be
That's how I
sent.
understood it to be.
Yeah, I only ask because it's like, we keep paying for it. We just need to get this thing done by somebody.
It's, yeah, Vermont's hard because it's so sad to go to other states and there's so much money to restore old buildings and
Yeah.
the state doesn't have crap.
No, I hear you.
Especially the South loves old buildings. They love to restore their history.
Architecturally, I love old buildings just for the way they look and how they did the donations.
Don't forget that.
I
And
mean, that was one of 3 gyms in the state that was subterranean.
I think
the
there's-
other
I think
thing
they
is,
still use it down in their southern Vermont.
the primary person who's interested in, has stated that he wouldn't get further into it until 2024.
Yeah, I figured that, yeah.
They're currently involved in a project at St. Albans and hopefully are gonna finish up in December, January.
So are we on others, Josh?
We're still in the mail.
Okay.
So a breakdown of WC coverage costs.
Workers' comp?
Oh,
So it sounds highway and public works. It gives us a breakdown of that. So our total contributions for the year for workman's comp looks like we were $12,572.
It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Not cheap at all.
So it is broke down by the cemetery,
Yep,
general highway
Workman's comp
department
Insurance costs.
Yeah,
through
not cheap.
through Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Yeah,
that's not,
it breaks it all down for us for a total, how much we actually,
how many employees?
I think this is how much we actually got this year, like how much it.
They don't
Yeah.
pay us.
So property, well, they would. If we had any issues.
If we had
Right,
claim,
no, I'm
yeah.
saying, yeah.
Well, I'm just like property, it says the cemetery, we had 113, we had $5 on a boiler, oh no, this is what we're paying probably.
That's what
Yeah,
you're
this
paying, yeah.
For the locations, okay, yeah,
So, the question.
so it's the
this
full
is-
breakdown.
This is workers' comp geared towards Tammy. So, treasurer, the town clerk is an elected position. Do we have to carry workers' comp on Tammy? Because she's not an elected position.
No, cause she
Well, in
worked
fact,
less than X
just
number of
because-
hours.
So is Alex.
Number of hours. Well, though, our
Hold on a minute, Alex-
volunteer, we have to provide it for our volunteers.
Alex is an independent contractor. All he has to do is supply.
So I'm
Proof of
covered
insurance.
under all that.
That's what I want to make sure. So she is
Any
covered under
employee.
workers' comp. That's
Well,
what-
oh, yeah, we would
Any
have to
employee,
if we
whether
pay
they're
her.
paid or not.
Yeah.
Right, okay, just making sure.
Yeah, I should know that because I have to do that for my
No,
students.
that's
that are-
why, like
this
each
is-
year, we have to submit the number of employees we currently, so,
Right.
because fire departments will go up and down.
Right,
The higher you are, the more you pay. The
right.
less you are, the less you pay. It's based on number of employees. It's like a range of.
And it's like a monthly thing or
Yeah.
something.
I was just wondering, for instance, she's covered
Yep,
because
is
she's
that
there
an
a lot.
employee?
So we also got another response. We got a response from Gary Denton, former select board member. Town, yeah, the signs.
Well, he stole my other, that's what I was about to.
So they ordered 2 in the town of Enosburg.
Yeah.
And the total cost for the 2 signs was $12,400. Plus
Okay.
$600 in freight.
For clarification on the minutes, these are the speed
Flashing.
notification sign, flashing speed notifications.
Okay, that was good. Now,
Sign.
to think what signs you're, what signs is he buying? But now that makes sense.
No, these are the push button crosswalk signs.
Right.
With the flashing, you
Not
know,
the-
that
not the speed
are.
limit.
That's that correct?
Yeah.
I thought we were,
No, these are the ones we talked about putting up by the
Yep.
library.
yeah, we talked about both of them.
Yeah.
That's like 13,000.
And they're solar powered, right?
Yeah, yeah, about 13,000 total. I mean, we're talking, yeah,
Yeah.
12,995.
13,000.
Did he have an estimate or a cost on the speed limit signs?
He didn't. We only asked for the crosswalk sign. Those are a little different because they're the push button that activate the solar powered.
Yeah.
It sounded like we might be able to get a speed limit thing.
Oh,
Just
we
kind
can.
of.
That's a
Sheriff's Department supplies you as well.
Yeah.
That's a portable cart.
Okay.
It's just a little, they put it behind the car.
Like, who has it? Jericho has one.
Yeah.
Inches.
Yeah,
They make one that goes on a pole that you can put on a stop sign that does the same thing, but that's solar powered. It costs us money to buy. Yeah.
About $13,000.
Well, they're
Well, I can't read.
good signs.
But if there's one of those, they might feel that they're being patrolled.
The one in Jericho
Yeah.
flashes white, it makes it look like they're taking your picture when they're.
Which-
not, they just
Right.
flash. And it does.
when we looked into those
Yeah,
back Well,
few years
three, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's actually illegal.
Yeah, I found that out, yeah.
Yeah, to have that flash.
Yep.
Oh, so we
Illegal?
have a flash.
Yep.
Can only,
Because
it can flash the number, but it can't flash. location.
It can't give you, the intent that they're
Right.
taking your picture. It's also illegal to take the picture,
When-
because we wanted to get the one that had the speed and like you could set it, so if it went. You know, if you were 15 miles over the speed limit, you'd take a picture and you get the license plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are illegal too.
Not
No.
in Texas, they do that.
There's a lot of things they do in Texas that aren't allowed here. For example, corporal punishment in the high schools is still legal in Texas.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
This one, I bet they do too.
You can still shoot somebody.
nuns will still whack
Back
you.
home there too.
The nuns will still
Alright,
whack
so
you.
we're gonna put this and this back in the new mail file.
You ignored that.
So that's going to new mail for pending or?
Josh, with regards to this, we can't do anything with it because of the prior email.
Right, I believe this has also been sent to
Commission.
the cemetery commission. I don't believe. We can see this, we can receive
just
this,
can't do it.
we can't accept it.
Right, we forwarded it to them for the. acceptance.
Right,
Okay.
Just for the minutes, I would like to thank Harmon Mail and Stacy Maynard for their service
absolutely.
over the years on the cemetery commission, and we're sorry that you have decided to leave.
Yep.
So we'll wait for the cemetery commission to come and let us know that this is.
So I will pass.
They
this
have
on
to
the
come to
cemetery.
us and say they have 3 positions that are open and they're gonna need to fill them, because they're not appointed, or 2 positions.
Well, how many are, well, I think they said Harmon's was coming up at the end of this year, so he must have been the one that was coming for election.
So he's just not rerunning.
Right. Cause I think it's a 5-year term, someone said.
All right, so the last thing
It's in there.
that can go there. The last thing I have, yep. Is this nice binder they got left here for me.
Yeah.
Alice Dodge from Vermont. Dear Josh, this is a reminder that Bakersfield Village Center designation will be up for renewal this coming June. By state statute, the downtown board is required to review the village center designation every 8 years. Please see the attached letter detailing what we will need for renewal and attach the renewal checklist. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact Richard Admore or me. We look forward to renewing your designation.
So.
It looks like a project. It looks like a project.
Great.
And I said, you should give it to Linda.
Yeah. I think,
Like,
Who did that though initially? Who did the initial?
no, apparently it has to be done every 8 years.
No, but I'm
Yeah.
saying.
it
who
was,
was it
Hel-
that
Helen
did that
Hunt,
as
not
a-
Helen Hunt,
Cause that helped us get grants.
Nancy Hunt. I believe it was
that's
Nancy.
who it was.
Yes.
You're right.
And I
You
think
should give it
this,
to Linda, there's a lot of stuff in there. I read through it. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's gonna take significant,
Well, I think that's
Just-
something
just
That's
in the
not
letter
bad.
itself, Josh, it lists off the stuff they want.
the girl that was here last month that offered to help us, is that it?
The Northwest Planning Commission. lady?
let's see.
Well, Linda's on the Northwest Planning Commission.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, she
you're
is.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because the last time this was done was in 2011.
And-
Brian Wescombe, Lance Lawyer, Willie Maynard.
It was close 8 years. It was
Yeah,
a tight,
close.
close.
They took out COVID.
That's right.
Or added COVID. Yeah.
Larry Krieger from the BCC.
Said copy it and send it right.
I remember there was a big benefit to this because of help in getting some of the
Yeah, Nancy Hunt.
different.
It makes you
additional
eligible for
funds,
grant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for more grants, I guess, yeah.
I would
Nancy
say-
Hunt wrote one on behalf of the Historical Society.
Yeah.
Like I said, Larry Krieger had a letter in there.
Why Cheryl DeGrue did something for the library or that.
The planning commission had something in here.
Should we give this the once over too and put it on like the next meeting agenda or the first one in January? Since it's not due
I
till
agree that
June.
it should be assigned to someone to.
You should do,
Yeah.
get Linda.
I just don't know. Well, we have to see if Linda wants to do it. All right,
I did give her a heads
so
up.
we have to
It
see.
might come her way. Cause I said, there's a
They're probably
lot
gonna
to
want
it.
to see some renewed photographs.
Yeah, there's,
You
and
don't wanna
it's
make an
renewed,
assumption.
like essays of how it affects the community. It's like a lot of stuff.
One more
All of
general
a sudden, you
question
don't
about
live in the
the
village anymore.
Main Street hasn't changed.
with that.
Yeah.
I think that satellite dish is still in my grandmother's house.
Actually, not in the village designation. The village designation, I think, ends, I'm in the village district. But the village
Todd's
center
house.
designation
Is
ends
it the
at.
park?
The village used to end at my parents' house and they changed it a few years ago and moved it back to the Maynard house, which is one up from my parents. It was weird.
Because it's, there's the district
I know.
and then there's the designation. The designation is.
It's designation
in the
of a
district.
village center
Yes,
Yeah.
is the other.
yeah,
term.
it's
That
village
is the
center
Matt
probably ends
Marion's
right over
house.
here, yeah.
So I'm the first one not in the center.
It was before
not
the
in
fire department had acquired
designation.
the new firehouse.
I could never ride the school bus, but my neighbor could, because we were last house in the village and then. Just below there was Harmon's and Harmon's kids could ride the bus.
Oh,
Drive
my
me
get
crazy.
on.
I'd be walking up, so they'd be waving in the buses.
No.
Walk one house down. Walk one driveway over.
Alright, yeah, if there was a interested individual,
Want me to see if Linda will take it?
It would be nice to find, I don't think we have the time to do it.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm thinking if she's been in that.
I mean,
sphere-
it's done, so it's really just updating.
it's updating, it's
Here.
updating this.
Right. There you
I'll see if she'll take it.
No.
I've
Don't look at
lost
me-
my,
don't look at me in that
I've
tone of voice.
lost my,
go.
oh, it's right here.
Done.
Alright,
Motion.
I
to-
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Before we do that, I just want to say that we really need to hit the budget hard next meeting.
yes,
And second, we need to set a date for the next meeting.
You're gonna hit the budget hard on the last meeting of December?
no,
I was gonna say,
What are we
that's
doing
not
for
your.
budget?
typical
we're gonna
thing.
have to do,
A special meeting?
we will have to do a special
Okay,
meeting.
that was the question, 'cause I was.
Typically,
Have Any ideas for dates? of-
yes, typically what we've done in the past, Lance, correct me if I'm wrong,
What?
is we've met every Monday in January.
Whoa, wait a minute, I have hair appointments on Monday.
Okay, well.
January's
I'll-
only, February starts to slide.
Well, no, so the only thing,
Okay, the planning commission meets on the third Monday.
they're gonna have vacation.
Do they meet?
Location. They're on the thing.
They get to record it, the planning commission. We're it, everybody else hung up.
So
I thought we were gonna vote on it.
the budget is priority number one.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, can it take place on not a Monday?
I think we've already established that Mondays are about the only days that everybody can be.
It's already been warned.
Huh?
So essentially, it's on the website.
The only other day I could do would be Thursdays. You wanted
Planning
to-
commission's on the website for Thursday.
Monday and Wednesdays for the next while.
Honestly, if we wait for days that absolutely everyone can be here, we might be waiting a long
No,
time.
I.
Quite honestly, though, the third Monday in January, if I'm not mistaken, the 22nd, no, the 15th. That would have to be like the finalizing of the
Yes.
budget,
Yes,
because it has to be turned in prior to the 22nd.
so
So that wouldn't be, that would,
just working solely on Mondays, I don't think is an option.
okay. So we will, how about we do the first and second Monday?
The first Monday is New Year's Day.
Of course it is.
Look at that, we just.
Blew that meeting out of the water.
Okay, well, let's throw out some dates here, folks.
You tell me.
Let me pull out my calendar.
Wednesdays, I run the ambulance duty, but I'm usually done by 6 o'clock, so if you have a 7 o'clock start, I can meet you.
Tuesdays, you could be here at 7.
Yeah.
The other option is we go earlier too.
Yeah.
Um,
Thursdays, I can do
Six.
pretty much any day, anytime on Thursdays. And Friday,
You got a hard stop, that's the thing, right?
for what?
For their meeting at 7.
yeah.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's,
Doesn't have to be Monday.
It's
No, it doesn't matter.
So the first, so you're gonna get,
budgetary.
on the 11th,
Meeting,
on the first,
concentrate on just that.
so on the 8th, you have a select board meeting.
correct.
And that's when you're gonna have these entities come and present what they feel they need for a budget,
What
correct?
if we did
Correct.
Thursday? After that,
Thursday, the 4th,
Yeah.
I am available.
I am.
I guess I can be available. It's my daughter's birthday.
That would give us, at least we get the information. from
We'd
them
have
at
the
that meeting,
information.
and we'd have that to start.
And quite honestly, I was talking with Lance about this earlier, with this document,
We can kind of go through it.
it goes through pretty
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
I don't think we've used 3 days of full-time budget meetings.
Let's schedule them anyway. We can always.
Yeah, no,
I
I agree.
You did.
So
Just
the,
did 8 stop.
the 1st, the 4th,
Or,
We do the 4th, do from 6:30 to like 8, because it is my daughter's birthday. I need to be home.
well, we can do it if you'd like.
Oh,
That's
really?
what I'm saying, like 6:30 to 8.
Go 5 if you want.
Yeah, what time can you get here?
Well, let's go 6.
Okay,
Okay. So 6 to 8,
6 to
6 to
8.
8.
I think you could do 6 to 7:30. I mean,
we'll put it
it's,
8,
you can put 6 to 8, but
and when we get.
We'll
be
just say
burned out
6
by
o'clock.
6:30.
We'll say 6 o'clock, because I have to warn it.
Yeah,
So I won't put an end time.
Budget meeting, 6 p.m.
And then,
Is this going to be Zoomed?
I don't think it has to be.
no, but if we can get,
It's a warned
if we can get
meeting.
input, if we can get input, that's our hardest thing. Is to get input for the budget, like people involved so that they'll actually vote it through.
Cause in the 80 years we've had the budget, how many times has it been voted down?
Right.
0.
Never?
In the 100 years that I,
There's been some discussion. I think
the 100 years that I've got record on.
it's usually the two big items that get hit are the roads,
Yep,
all right, so, and.
let's
Right.
see other dates.
When it
So-
got
so
voted on
first the
Florida, there was a
Thursday,
whole lot of
Yes,
discussion.
I got that.
1-4, there's always gonna be discussion here because nobody will show up at the meetings.
Well, now there's not gonna be any discussion, because it's
Okay,
all gonna
that's
be
Thursday.
Australian ballot.
Can we do the next Monday, or that's when they're
That's our
having their
The
meeting.
meeting?
8th is a regular select board meeting.
The 8th is a regular meeting, yep.
So if we stick to a hard schedule and a stop for the regular meeting and then do like an hour, so if we go from 7 to